Welcome to Experience the People. On this episode of the podcast, I get to know an incredible woman. She has a caring heart and a resilient spirit that were formed through some insane life experiences. Her perseverance is truly inspiring, and it's an honor to have her on the show. Please welcome Z. Welcome to Experience the People. This is Z.
What's up?
What's going on?
Hey, not much.
You all right?
Yeah.
What's been going on with you lately, Z? I'm so glad to have you on the podcast, by the way. I really
I'm glad you're having me.
Yeah.
I mean, work.
Yeah.
Pretty much. That's most of my days. On the weekends, it's just getting stuff done around the house.
Spending time with them boys.
Yeah, right.
You take your fitness seriously. Are you still going to the gym all the time?
Yes, 100%.
All the time?
All the time.
That's like your happy place, right?
Yes, that's my therapy session.
Yeah.
I call it my therapy session because it's just me. I put my headphones on. I don't see nobody. I don't hear nobody.
You don't try to meet anybody at the gym. You're not trying to.
No, not at all.
There's a lot of people who do that.
Oh yeah,
Lots
and
of people
I can't
meet
stand
people at the gym. You know what I'm saying?
That's why I go to the one that I go to, because the big one is like the One Life Fitness.
Oh yeah.
Down there
So you
by
go to the
Ashley
smaller
Park.
one.
Yes, because the big one is like, haha, look at me, in the mirror. And
Yeah.
When the pandemic first started, they shut everything down.
Yeah.
And then they opened the gyms back up, and I thought they opened the small one. So I was going there, and I was like, oh, it's locked down. So I had to go to the big one because that's the only one they opened up, and I freaking hated every minute of it.
Really?
Yes, I couldn't stand it.
Did you still go?
To the big one, no.
You
No,
quit
as
going?
soon as the small one opened back up,
yeah.
I was in the small one. I do not. Every once in a while, I feel like, maybe I should go, but then I'm like, nah.
So other than the gym, like, do you do anything diet-wise or anything? I know I'm just
I
asking you
meal
random
prep
questions, but
as much as I can.
yeah.
Do
you do that like to a diet though? You don't do that.
No, I kind of watch like my carbs.
Yeah.
Like I tried to stay at a certain.
But you eat rice and stuff anyway. Like you don't eat the bad carbs, right? We've talked
No.
about that.
Yeah. No. I'm trying to stay away from all the bad carbs.
Yeah.
But I just recently started eating gluten-free bread.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like I used to get heartburn if I ate like whole wheat. I don't know, there was something in the wheat that messed me up. I don't know what
Really?
it is. But I just started eating the gluten-free, and it made a super change. Like,
So just on that topic, I wanted to ask you this because you grew up in Germany.
yeah.
I've always heard that like European breads are different
Yes.
than American breads. Just
100%.
totally different. Like
Yeah.
because they're made with natural
stuff, yes.
regular ingredients
Yes.
that you're supposed to make bread out
Yes.
of, right? And
Yeah.
it's not like packed full of sugar and all this
Yeah.
other crap.
Well, I think now they have it.
Yeah.
I want to say Germany changed and they Americanized a lot of things. I don't understand why
Yeah.
necessarily, like the white bread and stuff. Now all of a sudden we have it. When I grew up, we never had it.
So
You
didn't have like sandwich sliced bread growing up.
No.
Wow.
We had toast, to put in a toaster, but it wasn't like the white bread that's here. Like the white bread here is like super soft.
Yeah.
The toast in Germany, it almost feels like old bread.
Huh.
And then you toast it and it tastes good. Like
I've heard like
you know what I'm saying? Like
well,
it's dry.
Yeah, I've heard like European breads are like they're like heavier, they're denser.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. And like we used to get our bread from the bakery. Like we would
You
go.
just had a local bakery?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the outside is always crunchy, and the inside is soft.
Yeah.
Is
that bakery still there?
Yes.
Really?
Remember when
You
I
were just-
showed you on the map?
Uh-huh.
When I told you I was going, this is the way I'm going to school.
Yeah.
Like on
You had
one
to
of
walk
the
by it?
streets. Yeah, on one of the streets on the corner, that was the bakery. And we used to, when we go to school in the morning, we would stop there. I mean, we get like they used to have like this stuff where you can buy gummy bears and stuff separate. Like one gummy bear is like 5 cents.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we would be in there in the mornings like, okay, I want 5 of these, and 10 of these.
Yeah.
And, because
The
we
Mexican restaurants have those around here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they have like little jars and you can buy like, I don't know, maybe when I was a kid, you
Yeah.
could do this, like buy individual candies.
Right, and that's how it is.
Yeah,
in Germany.
yeah,
But
yeah.
they're not even packed. Like they're
Not even wrapped or anything.
No, it's like they would take these little tongues
Oh,
and they would. Okay, you know.
So there
how you
wasn't like
go
kids
get-
just reaching their nasty
No,
hands.
no, no,
and-
no, no,
okay,
no, no.
good.
You would have to tell them literally, like, "Hey, I want 5 of these," and you
Yeah.
would literally count our little cents that we had. Like, okay, how many can I have? Like, okay, I got 50 cents, so I can have 10 of these. So like
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what we
yeah.
would do in the mornings before we went to school. We would have like a bag of candy.
That's so
going
cool.
to school. Yeah, but that's how and like I said, the bakery's still there.
Yeah. And the school's still there. We saw the school.
Yeah.
They're still.
Yeah, everything is still there. I mean,
Wow.
they just added a lot of things like that bird view that we saw, like that one big field where it was the basketball court and stuff. All
Right.
that was dirt. We had like this. It was just a big old grass field, and we
Yeah.
would just kind of like run around in there with.
Would you say like where you grew up in Germany, was it like fully developed? Like there was no. I mean, you're saying like they added more stuff. Like
When I'm
was
saying
that
like
because
adding, they upgraded. I guess I should
Oh,
say.
okay, I got you,
You know
I
what I'm
got you.
saying? Like the grassy area turned now into a basketball court with the
Oh, okay.
rubber field and
Yeah.
all that stuff. I guess that's what you call it. Yeah.
I think so. Whatever.
Yeah, but and then as far as
That's
the
so cool.
bread, I remember when we were kids, we used to fight for the end part
Why? Because of the
because
crust.
it was crushed. Yeah, because it was crunchy. I loved it. Like that was
Really?
like my favorite.
And then you got
part.
kids here in America who are like, "Cut my crust off."
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Now see, my grandma. So my mom used to work in the Leighton Barracks, which was across the street, the military base.
Your mother did?
Yes, she was a cleaning lady. She would clean like the general's office.
Uh-huh. You told me that.
and
She
stuff
used to
like that.
clean like a train depot or something like that,
Well,
didn't she?
that's what she did after the military left.
Oh,
But when
okay.
the military was there, my mom would clean their offices, like the general's office and the,
Yeah.
sergeant.
And they changed all that to like housing now, right?
Yeah, it's German housing now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they put like stores, like German stores in there. I think they tore down the whole gate and because there was a fence in between,
Right.
like because it was all fenced in.
Yeah, you were telling me that the military base was fenced in and it had a gate, but the gate was always open. Like
Yes,
pretty
and-
much.
Well, okay, so
like if you were German, you
in
could
the-
still go in and out, right?
there was a time where it wasn't, where you had to have an ID card, like
Okay.
a military ID card
Okay.
or an American ID card,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it.
But
And
eventually they got so
they
relaxed
got
or something.
relaxed, right? And then it was like anybody could just go in. And I mean, we loved it because we as kids, there were certain things that we didn't have in Germany that you guys had. Like we didn't have
Like,
Burger
say-
King.
And they had a Burger King on base?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Oh, they added Popeyes at one point. Taco
Did Germans
Bell.
work there?
No. Well,
Germans couldn't work in the base? Or would it be like military family members or something? Like,
I
how
think
did
it
they
was
do
more
that?
like contractors. You know what I'm saying? Like, but when it was like for the fast food and stuff, no, it wasn't no Germans. The contractors were like what my mom was doing. Like cleaning the base and stuff like that. But other than that, like in the stores and stuff, it was all Americans. Germans didn't work there unless they were married to a military guy, and
Yeah.
that's about it. But other than that, no. And
Interesting.
and since my mom was working there, she would bring like little stuff.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember Welch?
Welch, the
Soda.
grape juice?
The
Or,
soda.
the soda.
Yes. I was telling somebody the other day, and they're like, no, there was no Welch juice soda. I was like, yes, it was. There was this can, and it says Welch's on. I think it said Welch's. Welch's.
You might be correct. I mean,
But anyways, like my mom would always like if because she was cleaning, obviously
Yeah.
she would find change everywhere. And she used that change to go get like the sodas out of the machine.
like the seat cushion change? Like she'd be finding the seat
Yeah,
cushion change
yeah,
and
basically,
stuff? And
like
just-
or like people just dropping, I mean, even on the street,
Yeah.
you'll walk and you find a quarter or you found 10 cents or whatever. I don't know, like,
Yeah.
and she would just get a soda. Or sometimes, people that work there, they're like, "Hey, Monica, you want a soda?" And they would buy my
So
mom
she was
soda and
cleaning
stuff.
up there and she would bring you guys stuff back. Like
Yeah.
what? So that was one of the things you remember. What else do you remember? You remember anything else? Like what was the special thing to get from like the military base maybe?
Okay, when Popeyes first came,
Popeyes.
yes, I have
Louisiana
never-
style fried
Yo,
chicken. Come
yo,
on.
it wasn't even about the chicken.
What?
I have never had biscuits in my entire life, and I
What?
think I was 16 or 17.
Never had them?
No, because we don't have biscuits in Germany. This is all American stuff.
What do you eat for breakfast? Like what kind of
Croissants,
croissants? Okay,
eggs.
people eat those here.
We don't
too,
eat really. We
Not
don't
maybe
eat
not as
bacon
much.
like that, but it's more
Yeah.
like like
But like-
marmalade and like you know how the French eat breakfast.
Yeah, yeah,
kind of
yeah.
sort of like
Okay.
that. Yeah, but we don't
Okay.
have all that greasy
Interesting.
stuff like
So the
sausage, bacon, none of that.
Popeye's biscuits.
Yes, like I had an American friend. Like she was my age, and we hung out a lot. And she took me to Popeyes.
Yeah.
And she had gotten her whatever meal, and she got 2 biscuits with it. And she was like, "Here, take this." So I was like, "Okay." So I'm eating. She's like, "Here, put the honey on it." And
Yeah.
oh my God, it was like, oh, like. I mean, and to think about it now, when I eat Popeyes biscuits, I'm not really into them now. Because the biscuits, Pillsbury biscuits, are so much better than the Popeyes. I was like, what the
You'll
heck?
take Pillsbury biscuits?
Oh,
like the
100%.
pop,
Yes.
You know,
100%.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
I make them all the time. I love them.
I mean, but just because I'm working out so much, I don't
You don't
really, no, not at all.
They don't do it.
I don't even eat fast food. I don't eat, like, if I crave some French fries, I will go to McDonald's and get some French fries.
McDonald's is your place to go for French
Yeah.
fries?
Yes.
Do you give yourself like a cheat day?
Yeah.
Or do you pay
I mean,
attention to
sometimes
stuff
I
like
got
that?
2 cheat days.
Do you
Like,
pay attention to stuff like that or no? Do you try
Okay,
to restrict
so-
it or limit it or?
I've learned you can work out as much as you want to.
Yeah.
If you don't eat right, you're working out for nothing. You staying at a plateau, like you are just
Yeah.
cruising through. But if you really count your macros, like your calories, it's a whole different ballgame. Like you can see the changes so much quicker. Like you can see yourself leaning out. There was a point where I actually was even weighing my food. You know, it was like 4 ounces of chicken or 3.5 ounces of chicken or ground turkey, whatever. You know, whatever protein.
And
was
you
eating.
could tell a difference in the way you looked.
Yes.
Could you tell a difference in the way you felt though? Like how did you feel? Because a lot of people will,
not so
when they
much.
get so lean, they don't feel good.
I think no,
Some
not
people
so
feel
much.
real good.
Because I didn't like restrict myself like a whole.
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
still a balanced meal.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I was starving myself, but
Yeah.
I was eating better food. You know, compared to as
Making
far
it
as-
from scratch and stuff
Right.
like that.
as
yeah.
far like sugar, for instance. Like when I was going by this, I guess I don't want to call it a diet because it's more like a lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know, when it's
Well, you grew up. Did you grow up eating like that? Like, did you
No.
grow up eating
Well,
meat,
I grew
vegetables?
I grew up more, well, as a kid, we never went out to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything was home cooked, everything was eaten at home, breakfast, dinner. I don't even think we had really lunch because lunchtime was always in school.
Right.
So we would have like our sandwiches in school or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But
Year-round school there or no? Year-round school there? Do they do year-round school
no,
in Germany? They
no,
have
no,
a summer.
no. We have summer, but our summer breaks are only like 6 weeks.
Oh, okay.
It's not
Yeah.
like over here 3 months.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
You know, so
Yeah. So you didn't really do lunch at your house, but you did
No,
like
but
everything was made at home.
yes.
Your mom made
like
everything.
McDonald's was like, yay, we going
Yeah.
out to eat, you know, but
Yeah.
it was like special occasions. Now McDonald's, you talk about McDonald's, it's like, you hungry? Let's go get a burger. You know,
It's not even food.
No, it's not. It's mystery meat. I
It's
can't.
not even food.
The burgers taste like. I don't know. It's just like if you really think about it, as a kid, you don't think about, oh, it's good.
Yeah.
You know, but as an adult, I think being more conscious of what I eat. If you eat their burgers, it's sweet.
Yeah.
Like, what? That
Yeah.
doesn't. And I think, I mean, obviously it's the buns. It's not
A lot of it.
meat or
A lot of it.
whatever.
But still,
It's just not.
it's not real.
No.
Like,
Crystals. Oh my God. Don't talk about crystal. Crystals. bleh. I can't. Mm-mm.
Catherine
Okay.
can't stand Crystal either.
Really?
Me and my dad used to go there. That used to be like a thing for us. Like,
Yeah.
whenever we would go to Fayetteville, it was like whenever we were going to Fayetteville, it was a big
Yeah.
deal. Because they had a crystal. We'd always stop by the crystal and get like a sack full of crystals.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't think about it as a kid. It was just a
Yeah,
special
you
thing
don't.
I did with my kid, with my dad. You know what I mean?
Exactly, as
But
a kid. But
I
now,
don't think I've been to Crystal since.
yeah. Do you eat fast food?
Occasionally,
Or what do you do? Like, what kind of fast food do you eat?
Chick-fil-A.
Oh,
Chick-fil-A.
so overrated. So overrated. Like, my
Listen to me.
kid gets on me all the time.
Listen to me.
About the
I will 100% any day agree with you. Their biscuits, way overrated.
Yes.
I don't give me
Yes.
their biscuits.
They dry. Oh my
They dry.
God.
I don't want nothing to
You
do
have
with
to
them.
put 2
No.
packs of jelly
no,
on
it's
it.
the daggone Sahara Desert in there. You know, don't even unwrap that thing.
Yeah.
But I do like their food. I like their food.
Well, the only thing I do at Chick-fil-A, like say for instance, if I'm running late to work, which it's a lot of times.
Nah, not
Not
you,
me,
girl.
right? Not me.
Nah.
No, I would run to Chick-fil-A, and the only thing I literally get is that egg white grill. That they have that muffin.
That's it.
That's that grilled chicken with the egg white and the cheese and the muffin. Yeah,
So besides that, and
That's it.
McDonald's French fries,
that's my
there's no other fast food for you.
No. Well, I go. I don't know if you want to call it the pita fast food.
I
mean,
like pita.
Nukes. I'll go to Nukes.
I like pita.
because they have healthy.
Yeah, I
more
mean, if we
healthier
talk about eating
options.
out, I do eat out a lot.
Right.
But as far as fast food goes, no, it's pretty limited to Chick-fil-A. Sometimes at work, I'll branch out.
So overrated. My kid would cuss me out right now if I would tell him that. Like
I mean, you just said it to the world. You know this is going to go out
Whatever.
to like
Chick-fil-A
anybody
is
across
overrated.
the world could listen to
It's,
this.
you know, it's to me. I mean, does
But
it taste
you're-
good? Yes. Is it something where I'm like, wow, I gotta go back there. I can't like live
Yeah.
without it. No, my kid is like Chick-fil-A for life. The app that they have for Chick-fil-A where you can like collect points and stuff. My kid is like platinum or some shit like that. Like I don't know, but he eats so much Chick-fil-A that he gets like free crap all the freaking time.
That's great. I've got a cousin like that. Callie. She like chose her college based on which one had a Chick-fil-A like on campus and close to like a sorority
Oh my
house and like
God.
all that stuff that she wanted to do or
That
something
priorities. I swear to God, you going out to
Yeah.
college like that's your priority.
Well, that's like all she ate. Apparently, she didn't eat anything else. I don't know.
You know what? I'm so glad my kids are not picky eaters. Oh my God, yes. But yeah, no fast food. I don't like fast food. I didn't grow up on it.
Right.
So it's not like. So when I first moved here from Germany, I was shocked. I was driving. The first time I ever drove like through Union City, that was the first time I ever like getting out when I got here.
Union
I
City,
was-
Georgia was your
Yes.
first experience.
Well, not so than my first experience because, okay, you need to understand when I moved here, I moved to Palmetto, Georgia. Out of all places. Little country Palmetto, you know? So obviously we go out and my first time out driving somewhere from when I got here was Union City because I don't know if we went to a Walmart or something. We
Yeah.
had to get something.
Yeah.
And it was already dark, I remember. And I saw all these lights. And it was like McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Everything.
what? It felt like I was in Vegas.
Yeah.
Because we don't have that in Germany. Like, you don't go to Germany and you see nothing but fast food lights.
Yeah.
You know, like when you go to a fast food in Germany, they're like apart. They're not beside each other. Like you literally have to go. It's not like you can go across the street and you at
Yeah.
a McDonald's from
Yeah.
a Burger King. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I was driving through Union City, I was like, what is all this? Like, because I never heard of Wendy's. I never heard of Kentucky Fried Chicken. The only things I knew was Taco Bell, McDonald's, Burger King, Popeyes.
And how many of those were on base and how many were like,
They were all on base.
all those were on base, so they
Yeah.
were only
The-
accessible to Americans then,
Yes, yes.
or people who
Or-
worked on base.
Right. But see, because so when you have American friends, they can sign you in. You know what I'm saying?
So as long as you got a reason to be there.
Right.
I see.
But it wasn't much because, I mean, we as Germans, we really didn't have a whole bunch of friends, American
Yeah.
friends. You know what I'm saying? So that only happened once I turned, like, I think 16, 17, real close to the end of my time in Germany.
Yeah.
You know, that I was more around Americans.
Right.
But yeah, all of the fast food was on post. I remember the only thing we had was McDonald's. So there was one in the city, and then one of them. No, we had two in the city. We had two that was in the city, like downtown Wurzburg, where I lived.
Yeah.
And then there was one somewhere kind of like further out. I remember. But that's the only thing we had. And then we got Pizza Hut. And oh my God.
That was a big deal.
Oh, yes. 100. Yes. Anything that came from America was like a big deal. I mean, you got to think about it. Like, people, because we wasn't used to it. So when the barracks opened up to civilians where we didn't have, like, where people didn't have to show an ID card anymore.
Yeah.
I remember we started going trick-or-treating. Oh, my God. That was like...
What?
Yes. Because
So you had never been trick-or-treating before?
No. We don't have... Well, now, like I said, Germany Americanized so much.
Yeah.
I think now they have trick-or-treat. Like, I don't really know because I didn't experience it during the time that I was there. But I think they do now because I see my nephew and niece, like,
Oh, wow.
kind of, yeah.
So you guys used to have to go to on base to do it, though.
Yeah.
To go trick-or-treating.
Yeah.
And
And
you
that
did.
was the coolest experience ever.
So even once they allowed civilians on base, you guys still didn't go to fast food, though, like growing up, or did you?
No, because we had to have dollars.
Oh, you had
So
to spend American dollars? in
Yes. So the problem was always making our money American money, like making it dollars. You know, so we had to go like to the banks and be like, hey, can we exchange? And we would have to count like, okay, we
there?
have
Like you just didn't feel like doing it.
no.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say feel
It's just
like
a
doing
process.
it. It's just because of the way I grew up. I was sheltered a lot. Like I wasn't allowed to go a whole lot of places, so I never really had the time to do it either. Like it's not
I
like I
see.
could just go out the house and be like, hey, I'm about to change my money to
But your parents, they didn't have, they didn't go shopping on it
no
on the base or
you
anything.
couldn't.
They didn't,
You couldn't.
even when it was open to civilians.
Yeah.
Oh.
So the only thing that you could get as a civilian, like as a German, was like the fast food.
That's
But
it.
to go to the store and buy like clothes,
Oh, yeah.
shoes, and stuff like that, then when you get to the register, they check your ID card. You had to show your ID card to be able to purchase the
gotcha.
things there. Because, you know, I don't want to say because, but I don't know. Like, maybe Americans didn't want us to have their stuff. I don't know. Like, the shoes was a lot cheaper, I remember.
They wound
compared-
up selling a bunch of their cars over there,
Yes.
right?
Right. But those were more like civil, like, say for instance, you're a military guy, you have a car, and you want to
Mm-hmm.
buy you another car, and you just sell it. And sometimes a German would buy it. Like my dad, for instance. My
Yeah.
dad bought plenty of American cars.
Yeah.
Yes. Camaros was his thing. He
Camaros.
loved Camaros. Yes. Yes.
So he bought a bunch of them?
He always had one. He would buy one, and then he would sell it and buy another one.
Really?
My dad was into cars like crazy. I remember when we got the Oldsmobile. he
Muscle
drove-
cars.
Yes.
Like
Yes. Well, okay,
American.
so he liked the Camaro, but always obviously he liked the Mercedes. It's a German
yeah,
car.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we
Was
always
it always
had a
superior
Mercedes.
to
Yeah,
like the Camaro? Like that's the top dog?
no,
No.
no. I think my dad would have. My dad chose the Camaro
Yeah,
over
yeah.
Mercedes. Yeah, because it's not something that we have.
Yeah.
Mercedes. I mean,
Yeah.
we got taxi cabs.
Yeah.
Mercedes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Police
Right.
rides around in BMWs,
Yeah.
Audis. You know,
That's so crazy to think
it's-
about.
Yeah, so I mean, I remember my dad had bought this Camaro, and I remember it was red. So my dad used to work at a company called BASF. You know that would make the cassette tapes and stuff like that. But he worked for the part where they made paint, car paint. That's what
I
they
didn't
had
know
in
they did
Germany.
that.
Yeah, so because
That's
he
crazy.
worked there, he was able to make his own colors for a car. Like he would go and be like, "Hey, I want this color," and they would mix him the colors, and he
Get
would
it painted a custom color.
right. But what he would do is he would
that's
take the
cool.
car to Turkey because he's from Turkey.
Right.
Turkey is so much cheaper to get stuff done. Like it's just cheaper.
Yeah.
Everything over there is cheaper, to be honest. So he would take the car, take it to Turkey with his little paint, and get it painted, and then bring it back to Germany. It was a totally different car. I remember that Camaro had like the color that he mixed that he had. It was red, but it had an orange tone to it.
Yeah.
It was a really cool color. I remember that.
That's so neat that he did that.
I
That he
remember
had that interest.
Yeah.
That's really
All
cool.
of his cars were like that.
Were a lot of Germans like that, or
No.
a lot of people in Germany like that?
No, my
No.
dad was special.
He was the only one that was like, yeah, Camaro,
Yes,
and like coming up with
100%.
Really?
Yes. There. I mean,
He was like that dude in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad was like the loud guy.
Yeah.
The
Let's talk about it for a
look
second.
at me.
Yeah.
You know, like, but I'm the fun guy. You know, like to the outside, everybody freaking loved my dad for whatever freaking reason. All the kids that, all the kids in our neighborhood, they wanted to. My dad was a really fast driver. Like when I say fast driver, it was like freaking Speedy Gonzales. Because, on the Autobahn, no speed limit.
Right.
But even in the city, my dad was driving like a maniac, and the
In
kids.
his Camaro.
Whatever car he was in, it could have been some little beat up hoopty. And my dad still was, acting like he was in a race car.
Yeah.
But and then because his temper was so bad, like I remember I had told you, like he got into a lot of fights. Like he wouldn't take shit from nobody. He had that Napoleon syndrome. You know what I'm saying? You throw him a bird and he literally will pull over and beat you.
Yeah, you said he was smaller in stature, right? Like
Yes.
how big a dude was
look
he?
at me.
How big a boy was he?
My dad is like my height. Like my dad is maybe a little bit taller than me, but he was a stocky guy. Like he was always built. But he would walk around with this kind of like, oh, I don't want to fuck with this guy. You know what I mean? Like that, because nobody in our neighborhood would deal with my dad at all. They did not want to piss him off. They did not want to, because he was the guy that would literally freaking explode.
Well, yeah, he backed up all, like, it's not like he just had the small man syndrome. Like,
No, he would be out there and not giving a
yeah.
shit about anything.
Yeah.
Like, it's been plenty of times. And the kids in my neighborhood, they just thought it was so cool. So anytime my dad would go somewhere, my dad would actually take the kids in the neighborhood with him.
They thought it was cool he was a tough guy, or like that he drove fast,
that he
or
drove
like
fast,
just
the whole thing, the
they
whole
just loved
package.
your dad.
Yes.
And
They wanted to be around my dad because my dad was just the cool guy.
And as a kid, you couldn't stand him?
Oh,
I know you did into your I know you did in your teenage years.
Look, there was a time. Okay, so to a certain period, I guess age, my dad was like my role model. And then it just changed. It went a whole nother way to where I'm like, if y'all only knew who the fuck this guy is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like I said, the kids in my neighborhood, like they freaking loved my dad, and my dad like soaked it in. He was like, yes, I'm the man. Like for
he
him,
liked that admiration.
Oh, 100%.
All
like,
the kids looking up to
oh,
him.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, and it was like, Hassan, can we ride with you? Like, my dad's name was Hassan. And my dad was like, yeah, come on, jump in the car. And they would go for a freaking ride. And, and it was funny because sometimes he would leave my brother and me behind. And we was like, okay, what the fuck? He's taking all these kids. And why are we at home? You know what I mean?
But was he being like you say he was a tough, like he had that tough guy persona, right? And he would like, you said he had road rage bouts and stuff like that. But when he
100%.
would take these kids out, like, was he being cool and like being a decent role model? And
role model my ass. They liked my dad because he wasn't a role model.
I
You
see.
see what I'm saying?
I
Like, it
get
wasn't
you.
like, okay, children, don't get in trouble, don't do
No, but
this, don't.
you can be that cool guy without being a jerk. You know what I mean? It's not like they don't have to be separate.
Well, I mean, he wasn't a jerk. Not to those kids.
Yeah,
You
just
know what
to
I'm saying?
other
Like,
people.
it was more like they had an adult friend, so to speak. You know how cool it is for kids to be like, oh, I know this adult guy, and he takes us, and you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just,
weird.
and he would play loud music. He was that dude.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I mean, even, look, and this sounds so crazy, but even the women in my neighborhood, like the little single moms and shit that was out there, they was like, oh, hi, son, hi. They would be like all laughing and waving at him and shit.
Really?
And flirting. Oh my God, it was crazy. Like, but my dad was like, yes.
Yeah.
Soaked it all
Yeah,
in.
he loved it.
He loved it. He loved the attention. He loved that people was looking at him like, I guess that he's somebody. And my dad looked like a little mafia dude.
Right.
Like he had that jet black hair, tan.
You showed me a picture of him like leaned up against a motorcycle. This was later in his life though. Leaned up
Yeah.
against a motorcycle. He had like a black leather jacket
My dad
on
is
and like
th- yes.
the jeans
Yo,
and
my dad is in his 60s and he is still the same dude
Yeah.
that he was back then. 100%. Ray-Bans, all
So
of that.
so the whole neighborhood was like, ooh, ooh, ooh.
Yeah,
What was he like at home?
a dick. 100%. Like he it was, he would go from 0 to 100. And obviously the kids loved it outside because he wasn't towards them like that. He was towards other people, and they would see him beat other people up and shit, and that was like the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
But at
It was
home,
like World Star.
right.
It was like World Star.
Right,
in
right,
Germany
right,
at the
right.
time.
Exactly. You know,
Before
like
the
I was like,
internet.
woo, yeah,
Yeah.
beat his ass kind of thing, you know. But
That's so funny.
the like at home, it was a whole different vibe. My dad was so he used to gamble a lot. Like he was a gambler. So my dad is Turkish. And in Germany there are a lot of Turkish people, and I don't know, well, you probably don't know, but even in Turkey they have these places where only man can go. You know what I'm saying? Like, gosh, what they call those things. I can't remember. You know, my Turkish is going
Yeah.
But anyways, it's this place where only men can go, and they play like cards. They got this thing called, what they call it over here. In Turkey, it's called okay. But it's,
What is
you
it,
know,
a
it's
card
this
game or
thing.
something?
No, it's like rummy. Rummy, is that the game that
I mean,
y'all
it's a
call
card
it rummy?
game.
But it's not card, but it's the stones, like little with the numbers on it, and you have it sitting in front of you. They have the game over here too. Ruby, Ruby.
You're asking a non-gambler. I don't play with my
Well,
money.
anyways,
I don't
so
play with my
they
money.
would
I'm
play, but
sorry.
I think they would play
Out of the league.
they would play cards when they gamble. You know, so
And any man could go, or was this because your
Turkish
dad
men.
would? Okay, Turkish men only.
yeah, and they drink like tea there. You know, in Turkey, a lot of people drink tea and coffee. It's like those tiny little cups of tea and tiny
Yeah.
little cups of coffee, whatever.
Yeah.
But so they had this place in Germany where people would go, like gather, Turkish men. You know what I'm saying? And they would just be there smoking cigarette, playing cards, and being dudes.
So
you know,
they just brought that to Germany. Like
Yeah,
there was a
pretty
group.
much.
Was there a lot of Turkish people there?
yeah, 100%. Because you know,
Wow.
Turkish people helped build Germany back up after World War II. You know, so a lot of people came from Turkey. You
Yeah.
know? But
Is that what brought your dad?
my grandma?
Your grandma. Right. Yeah.
But
yeah.
I think
I'm sorry.
I don't know if my grandma came actually to rebuild Germany, but I think it was around that time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
When
yeah,
she
yeah.
had the chance, but
There's probably people going.
yeah.
A
I
lot,
mean,
you
even
know.
to this day, people want to move to Germany, like Turkish people. Like
Really?
yeah.
Wow.
But I know. So when my dad would go there, he would gamble a lot,
Mm-hmm.
right? And he would be there literally until 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, and would come home.
Oh, at these Turkish gathering places,
Yes,
like
yes.
Turkish
And he would
men.
literally gamble all
Yeah.
night.
You told me he would go to like Turkey sometimes for days. and
Oh,
gamble.
my dad would be gone to Turkey for like months. And
What?
yeah, towards the end, like when I turned like 15, 16, my dad would go to Turkey for like 2, 3 months, come home for 2 weeks, be gone for 2, 3 months, 4 months, come back home for a week, leave again. Like there was
Was it because like you guys just didn't need care anymore because you were
there
older,
was
or was it
another
because
bitch
his
in
gambling
Turkey.
addiction was that bad, or like what was it?
there was a chicken turkey.
Oh,
My dad was a huge cheater too.
so just a lot of aspects to not look up to.
Oh,
Basically.
100%.
Yeah.
No, but you know,
Did you learn from all that as a kid?
I knew that I didn't want to be like that.
Right.
Okay, so this may sound so stupid, right? But the aspect of my dad being somebody that nobody would fuck with was like the cool part. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. So you wanted that hardness.
right?
Yeah.
You know, like, but everything else, no, not so much. Because you know, when he would go gambling and he would come home at 5 in the morning, he would literally sit in the living room, smoke his cig. My dad was a smoker, like chain smoker, and in the mornings when we would get up for school, the house already smelled like smoke, and I hated it. My mom would open my door to wake me up for school, and I was like, "Oh my God, he's in the living room." You know what I'm saying? Like
He'd still be awake.
he was still awake. He would make him coffee and sit
Yeah.
there and watch freaking Tom and Jerry cartoons.
Yeah.
You know, like, because in the mornings they played like cartoons and shit, and my dad would watch that. And then we would go to school and he would go to sleep. So when we come back from school, because our school in Germany is only until 1 o'clock. So we would come home around 1:30.
nice.
Yeah. But we would come home at 1:30, my dad would still be asleep. So the whole thing was with my dad, we could not wake him up. Like we had to be super quiet. We couldn't turn the TV on. We couldn't, I mean, like no noise. I mean, fucking dare talk loud and you are being punished.
Yeah,
Like my
yeah.
dad would literally, like sometimes he would wake up and he would blame it on us and he would storm out of the bedroom and we would get our asses whooped. I mean, chairs are flying. Like he would just be that fucking crazy. Doors are slammed. Like, yeah. He would be yelling at us. I can't even sleep in this house. Da 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 da. You know, like we being so disrespectful and shit. Like, oh yeah, I was scared of my dad. Very scared. Very scared. Like even if I didn't wash dishes, that was like another thing. Oh my God. Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Like if you missed a chore, is
Yeah.
what you're saying.
The
Like,
kitchen was like the biggest thing. But
and was the kitchen like your responsibility
yes,
specifically or something?
Yes,
that's-
it was.
yeah.
It was always me. Like my mom didn't get in trouble. You know what I'm saying?
Speaking of which, you've talked about your mom going to work on the barracks and stuff like that. She was
Mm-hmm.
a cleaning lady. You have not mentioned your dad working at all. Did he work?
No, he did work. Like I told you at that.
Oh,
Bayes,
okay, that's
at
right, that's
BAS.
right, at the paint
but
thing.
I remember. Okay, so my dad
He
worked
did.
at.
You did mention that.
Right.
Okay,
So
I'm
my
sorry.
dad worked at Coca-Cola. I remember that.
Okay.
And at Coca-Cola, I think so. Anytime my dad lost a job, is because he got into a fight with somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like he
Yeah.
always was out there beating somebody up. And then I think when I turned, I want to say it was around when I was 15, 16, my dad just stopped working. Like he wasn't working at all. He just, and that's when
And that's
he
when
started.
you said he would.
He would go to Turkey for freaking months and not come back. And my mom was pretty much holding down everything, to be honest. She was the,
She's a trooper.
yes. My
So
mom.
that's where you get that from.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Because you're totally that way.
Yeah. My mom, she had 3 jobs. She
Yeah.
was working her ass off. I remember my mom would come home like from working in the barracks and then okay, so on base, you know, they have the military people that live there in housing.
Yeah.
You know, like and so they would put the married people into housing. You know, that had families. They were
Yeah.
in apartments and stuff. And then, you know, the soldiers, they were single, whatever, they would be in the barracks. So the housing section, my mom would get a couple of the house. Like, okay, one thing I've learned when I grew up, and God forgive me for saying this, but to me, Americans was very lazy. Like, when I say lazy, they rather paid somebody to do stuff for them.
See,
you
that's
know what
not
I'm
breaking
saying?
news.
But
That's
it
not
was just
breaking
like,
news
you know,
at
so
all.
because the housing that we were living in, the apartments, we had like our stair chores, meaning our, you know, to clean our stairs. Like, because, okay, so our
Yeah.
apartments are like, I don't know, maybe in New York or something where you ring the buzzer on the bottom and then you have to go inside the building, go up the stairs. So that's how ours was. So every Saturday, somebody had to clean stairs. So you clean your section. You know what I'm saying? And then it's your neighbor's turn next Saturday to clean that section. And it
Okay.
would go on each stair.
And they wouldn't do
crest.
it.
Yeah, they would do it. Like we would do it. Like we was doing it. Like we had even like these Germans are very organized, right? So we even had like this it was like this card, right? And it was this, it almost looked like an Excel sheet, right? And it had a little string on it and you would hang it on the next person's door. So say for instance, it was my mom's turn, right? We would have the card on our door and then my mom would clean the stairs that Saturday and she would sign, put the date on it, and then she would take it and take it to the neighbor's door. And they would have to sign and put their name on it when they did their chore. You know what I'm saying? That's how
Yeah.
we kept our
So it's
stairwell.
organized.
Yes, that's how we kept our stairwell clean. You know, like in the apartment. Everybody did
So
their
everybody's,
part.
it's clean.
Right. So, but in the barracks, like in the housing, American housing, they didn't do that. So obviously
Right.
the stairs looked like shit. So some people, they didn't want to live like that, but they didn't
Yeah.
also didn't want to do it. So what
Yeah.
they did was they got together and was like, okay, everybody paid $10, $15, you know what I'm saying, a week or whatever, and we'll get somebody to do it for us. And my mom was that person. My mom had like three staircases or 4 staircases that she would have to go do twice a week. So she would go one time and mop the whole staircase from top to bottom, you know, sweep and mop.
Yeah.
And then in the middle of the week, she would go and just sweep. She wouldn't mop it. So she sweeps it once, and then at the end of the week, she'll mop the whole thing, and she got paid for that. So my mom had like 4 of those. So my mom would go to the barrack, like she would work in the morning there in the barracks, to clean in the offices and stuff. And then she would go do those twice a week or whatever. And then she was cleaning a bank, a German bank. Like then she worked for, so the company that she worked for was contracted by the military, obviously.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? To clean
She worked
offices.
for a German company.
Right. But that company also cleaned other places, with us in
Right.
the German community. So my mom picked up another place, which was a bank. So she had to be there at like 4:30, I think, because the bank closed at 4. So she had to be there to clean that. So she would come home from doing all that shit in the barracks, and I remember my mom would be so tired she would be asleep on the couch, and then she would get back up and go downtown. And my mom didn't have a driver's license, so anywhere my mom went, she either walked or she took the bus. My mom never got her driver's license but our bus
Still?
still. Oh shit, she couldn't drive now at all. You know what I mean? But yeah, never. Everything my mom did was by foot or she took the bus.
Wow.
So yeah,
Is
I
public
always
transportation like a big deal out there? Like, does it go everywhere you want it to go?
Everywhere.
Really?
Yes.
Is it expensive?
Wait. I think my mom had like a monthly card. Like you
Oh,
pay
okay.
like $60 or something like that a month, and you can ride as much as you want to.
Yeah, makes sense.
That was it. Yeah.
For someone like her.
Oh yeah, 100%. So, but yeah, she never had a driver's license. I think she tried, but
Yeah.
because my dad is such a dick.
wouldn't let
He
her
was
learn?
trying. No, she was trying to learn. Like he was trying to get her to. He was trying to teach her, right? Which he really didn't have to do because Germany, our driver's license classes and stuff, and the way you get your driver's license in Germany is totally different than over here. So, because they teach you everything, they got the car and everything. You don't have to take your own car. So
Really?
yeah, but
So they teach you everything and supply everything.
Oh.
Everybody gets the same classes.
yes,
Same
yes,
training.
same training. But
Wow.
he was trying to teach my mom, and if my mom made a mistake or whatever, he would be like yelling at her. Okay, you know how they say at UPS the like when you learn how to go to feeder, that's what I've heard, that your instructor will like yell at you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and totally throw you off. Kind of like that, I'm
I gotcha.
assuming. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, totally threw my mom off, and my mom was
Yeah.
like, fuck that. I'm not going to get yelled at every time I get in the car with you. So
She
she
just
said, I quit. I'm not even going to. So.
I mean,
But, the thing is, my mom didn't even have to learn it from my dad. I don't even know why she even attempted to have
that's
my
weird,
dad
right?
as a teacher with his fucked up ass attitude.
he probably insisted.
Oh,
He
100%.
probably
Oh, I can teach you how to
Yeah,
drive.
yeah,
I'm the
yeah.
best driver ever. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah, something like
I
that.
promise you, my dad thought he was
Yeah,
the best
yeah.
driver. I mean, okay, granted, my dad was a great driver.
Yeah.
Great. Like, I don't know. It was fun riding with my dad when he was speeding and shit. As
Yeah.
kids, we was like, yeah, faster, faster. Like,
Yeah.
but my dad was a good driver, and I think, I don't know, with my dad's attitude, I could only imagine that he said, I'm going to teach you how to drive. You know what I'm saying? And my mom was like, okay. Yeah.
Did you have a good relationship with your brother?
So I had a good relationship with my brother until I turned 16. During the time when
See, that's like when everything is changing for you.
yes,
It seems like
100%.
Right in that, like,
Yes,
15,
it was
16, 17
literally
range.
when my dad started going to Turkey a lot.
Yeah.
Because once my dad started going a lot, I had more freedom. I guess I want to say. I still didn't do whatever I wanted to do, but I was able to do more than what I used to. Before, it was literally go to school, come home, and go to sleep. Besides
Taekwondo, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so now it's like, so when my dad started going to Turkey a lot, the one thing where he fucked up, well, what fucked up my brother's relationship and mine was because my dad told him he's the man of the house. Once that happened, it's like my mom had shit to say. If I wanted to do something, I had to go ask my little brother.
Really?
Yes. That was
Your
like,
mom say didn't trump your little brother.
if
like,
it was something that my brother felt like my dad wouldn't let me do,
Yeah.
no.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. That's crazy. Like,
That's a strange family dynamic. See?
it's just because, so, all right. And I
For
don't
an
want to
American?
look, yes, 100%. And I don't want to put it towards religion. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? But, so, my dad is from Turkey,
Uh-huh.
right? And Turkey is not like that anymore. I have to say that. Like, where men rule, women are housewives, yada,
Yeah.
yada, yada. You know, if you go to Turkey now, everybody walks around like over here.
Yeah.
It's nothing. Maybe in little villages and stuff like that, people are still more a little, you know, in back of
Yeah.
the days, I guess I want to say. But if you go into the big cities, Izmir, Istanbul, Ankara, all those places, you're not going to see people that are like covered up from top to bottom, and
Right.
you know what I'm saying, women
But
are
that-
like have nothing to say, and women are not working or not in powerful positions, because that's not nothing like that anymore.
But that's the
But-
Turkey your dad came from, right? Is
exactly,
With all those things.
right. But
Yeah.
you know, the funny part is my grandma, she got divorced from my from my granddad. You know, and that was like unheard of in the
Yeah.
time frame that my grandma did it. And she freaking moved to Germany by herself. She left her two boys.
Afterwards.
Yes, she
Wow.
left her two boys with my granddad. Worked her ass off in Germany so she can get her two boys,
Really?
my uncle and my dad. You know what I'm saying? So that already went all against what Turkish women are allowed or supposed to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but then for my dad to be so strict on me when his own mother did whatever the fuck she wanted to do. Like, my grandma would tell me stories. She would be like, she would be the only woman that had lipsticks on and hair done, makeup done and shit. You know, it wasn't like
Doing
When-
what she wanted to do.
what she wanted to do. Exactly. And my grandma always been like that. You just could tell my grandma was this like strong woman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? On my dad's side. But as far as my dad, so my dad grew up in that era in Turkey and moved to Germany and never experienced how Turkey has evolved from all of that. You know what I'm saying? And my dad was already a hard-headed ass dude. Like, you couldn't change him. It's like
Sure.
he was always right, his way or no way. Then he had that Napoleon syndrome. He had this, I'm the man of the house. You know what I'm saying? But he was a true narcissist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I said, in his eyes, the man is the one that, you know, puts down the rules.
Sure.
So when he started going to Turkey a lot, like I said, he told my brother that. And then that kind of, like I said, fucked up the relationship between me and my brother, because now it was like my brother all of a sudden was this dude in the house. You know what I'm saying? And he took his role, I guess, super serious. And yeah, that would change our relationship at that point. I mean, we were still close, but not close. And then my brother got to an age where he was hanging out with his friends all the time. He was never at home. He was always downtown hanging out with friends and stuff. So,
Right.
but see, that's where I did whatever the fuck I wanted to do.
When he was doing that.
That's when I became really sneaky.
Yeah. Did your brother do Taekwondo and stuff
Yes.
like that with you? He
Yes,
did?
yeah. But he stopped.
Oh.
Because for him, it wasn't an outlet. For him, it
Sure.
wasn't like, oh my God, this is the only way I'm going to get
Yeah.
out the house. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
he was
He
able
was
to
a
do
man.
stuff. Exactly.
He was a boy.
But me, I had to be at home. So to me, it was like, oh, yes.
Yeah.
Let me get on this bus
That
and train
sucks.
and get to my Taekwondo classes. You know?
That sucks.
Oh, it was, you know,
I mean, I love Taekwondo. I did Taekwondo for a long time.
yeah.
I would encourage anyone to do it. But it sucks that that was your only outlet, is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
True.
That's really sad.
That, I mean, you know, even like I was with the kids, right? I started with the kids' classes, obviously, because I was like in 5th grade when I first
Yeah.
started, 4th or 5th grade. And then when I turned 15, my trainer told me, he was like, hey, you know, I think at that point I was I think I was a blue belt. Because, Taekwondo got two. You got the first blue and then the second blue, and then everything is two, And so he said if I wanted, I could come to the adult classes. So the kids' classes was Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Adult classes was Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturdays. So, of course, me trying to get out of the house, I was like, hey, can I come to both? And he said, yeah. No problem.
You were coming 6 days a week?
So I would go 6 days a week to fucking Taekwondo.
Jeez.
Just to get out the house.
Monster.
Yeah.
I bet you were really good.
Yeah, I mean, I loved it.
Yeah.
It was, and it was like the only thing where I felt like I was part of something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
and you trained like all 6 days. Like
Yeah.
you were
Yeah.
doing the class. You were doing the training.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
At 15.
Yeah. And I remember, so I'll never forget. So because I was a blue belt, so before we all start, our training, whatever, what our trainer would do is he would say like, okay, the red and the blue belts would warm everybody up.
Yeah.
So he gave me like the white and the yellow belts. You know what I'm saying? Like they're little, they wasn't that advanced, but they're
Right.
all adults
But they're
now.
adults, yeah.
right?
And you're 15.
Right. So, and then, we have to do like jumping jacks,
Right.
push-ups.
Gotta warm up.
Shit like that. So just to warm
Yeah.
up, you know what I'm saying? And we had this rule, if we are late to class, we have to do 50 push-ups,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I remember this guy walks in and he was late. He went in there, he changed, he comes out, does his little whatever, bow and all that. And then he just starts warming up with us. And I was like, hey, what are you doing? And he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, you was late. You got to do 50 push-ups. And he looked at me and he said, you a kid. I'm not going to let a kid tell me I got to do 50 push-ups. And I was like, you motherfucker. I said, okay, I got you. So we did the warm-up. And then when my trainer came, I asked him, I was like, if I could talk to him for a second before he started his little thing, whatever. So he was like, all right. So he told the red belt that was training, that was warming up everybody. He was like, hey, warm up everybody, do a group, whatever, right? So I went into the office with him and I told him, I said, hey, so-and-so came in. I can't even remember his name. It was like Michael or some shit. But I said, he came in and he was late. He didn't do his 50 push-ups. I told him to, but he didn't. So I was like the little snitch. But I just hated the way he came at me, because, yeah, okay, I'm 15, but still, it goes by belts, not by age.
Right.
So he said, he what? He didn't? I was like, nope. He said, oh, I got something for him. So his wife's brother was like this huge dude. Right? And he was training with us too. And we called him Elephant because he literally looked like an elephant. Like he was huge. He was tall. He was wide.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He
Yeah.
was like this
One of
huge
them
dude
guys.
and his nickname was Elephant. So when we were done training, like we did our whatever session and training and this, that, and the other. So at the end, we always do like a little sparring match. So he called Elephant into the ring and this dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he kind of like taught him lessons, and then at the end, he actually told him why he did what he did, and next time, if a higher belt tells him to do push-ups, if he instructed them, like if he instructed like me or the
Sure.
red belt to warm somebody up, all the rules.
Yeah, but
still
that's the
count.
rules.
Right? And yeah.
It's not your
Oh, he was
rules.
pissed. That dude
It's
was
the
so
rules.
mad with me, but he was such a cocky dude too. Oh, I remember him. I
I
didn't
never
like
had to
him.
deal with that. Thank God. I got
So-
my black belt really young.
Really?
Yeah, I say really young. I think I was 15 or 16.
Oh wow.
I think I was 15 or 16. when I
Yeah.
got my black
See,
belt.
with us.
But I started at 5.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't start that early.
Yeah.
No, heck no, I was already in school and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but I never made it to my black. I was one away from my black. I was at my second red, and then, I started.
You know.
Yeah. Other things became a little bit more important, and I started skipping.
Yeah.
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 And that was, and like I said, I always wondered, like, damn, I wish I could have gotten my black, or should I come over here and like try to get my black or whatever? But it's just not having that same trainer.
Yeah,
I was so attached to my trainer. Like I was so used to him, and we had like,
Yeah.
it was like a bond.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I was there 6 days a week.
Right.
I saw that
Right.
man more than I
Right.
saw my dad.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I know exactly
So
what you mean.
it was just, yeah, I don't think I could have over here.
If I were to take it seriously and try to train, I would never be able to do it with a different instructor than I had. There's no way. And he's still teaching. It's just in Stockbridge. I'm gonna try.
Ooh.
I got
Yeah, that's
3
a good
small
minute away.
kids. I got.
Yeah.
I work at night. Like,
Yeah, where is the time, right?
yeah, to go train for Taekwondo for what? Just because I love it,
Yeah.
Like,
How long are the
I got
classes?
the
Is it
bag in
like
my
an hour
house.
class?
Like, huh?
Is it like an hour class?
I think so.
Like,
I haven't
that's
even-
how ours was. It was an hour class.
It's been so long at this point because I got to, like I said, I got my black belt so young, and like, I've always been a skinny kid.
Yeah.
There was not a lot of people in my weight class, and I was decent. Like, I was pretty good.
Yeah.
And so I would always have to start fighting up in weight classes and stuff like that, and it sucked.
Yeah.
It sucked. Like, when I started getting older and I grew taller,
Yeah.
and I never, like, I didn't fill out like every other kid.
Yeah.
And that wasn't fun. It was fun, and it was competitive for a while, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I loved it. I competed constantly. That's all we did. But like spending time, like you were talking about, holy smokes! I would spend my whole summers. You talk about 3-month-long summers in America. That was.
Yeah.
I lived at their house the whole
Oh,
summer.
wow.
I just lived with them.
See, and I wonder sometimes if my upbringing wasn't so strict, if I would have fell in love with it like I did. You know what I'm saying?
It's a good point.
Like, because I had a friend of mine, she was going with me. She was actually
Yeah.
there before I was. She was my neighbor downstairs. Her name was Denise. And she my dad always wanted us to do some kind of fighting shit. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, be strong. If you got to, you whoop somebody's ass
Yeah.
kind of thing. And
Yeah.
you know how to.
So he was cool with the
Oh,
idea.
yeah, 100%. My
Yeah.
dad always said, if anybody comes at you, you punch him in the face.
Right,
right.
right.
Like, that's my
Yeah.
dad's mentality.
Right.
So, yeah, he wanted us to go. Like, he was pushing for us to go. Like,
Mm.
he would rather for me to go freaking Taekwondo than go ballet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was that kid also. I wouldn't have liked ballet. Because
Yeah.
I grew up with my brother and my cousin, so there was no, it was just boys. So that's
Right.
how I grew up. It was always like wrestling around with them. But she went with me, and she was German, and she had so much more freedom. My neighbor downstairs. Once her mom actually talked to my dad and was like, hey, this is where Denise is going. If you want, let your kids go, blah, blah, blah. And we ended up going, and that was it from then, but she had so much freedom. Like, once she started having a boyfriend, I was going by myself because she would always come with me. You know what I'm saying? But I remember once she had her boyfriend, that was it. Like, she wasn't going with me anymore. I would just take the ride by myself.
Yeah.
And that's why I say, like, if I would have had the freedom like she did, would have I've been as into it as I was.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
No, I get it.
because that was, like I said, that was like my only way out the house.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I wonder.
I don't know. You kind of have that personality, though.
Oh, 100%.
You kind of have that competitive,
Yeah.
fighting personality.
Yes. And
So it
that
makes
goes
sense.
with, and that
it makes
goes,
sense for you to latch onto.
and that goes with like how you said before, like that I've changed from,
Yeah.
from back then to now.
Yeah.
Like from when we first met. I think back then I was still that angry person. Like because okay,
Angry
so
at what?
the way I grew up, I want to say, like I had a lot of resentment towards how I grew up, the things I've been through, you know what I'm saying? It made me an angry person to where I would lash out on things. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then I guess moving here from Germany and being like by myself, not having family and stuff, You know, in the beginning, I guess I felt like, okay, everybody is nice. Everybody that smiles at you is nice. Everybody
Yeah.
that, they mean good. But it's not like that.
No.
People will use and abuse your kindness.
Absolutely.
And I had to learn the hard way. I fell on my head plenty of times. Like, I was green beyond green. Like, I had to learn the hard way. Everything I've learned was the hard way.
Yeah.
Nothing came easy, I guess I want to say. And so once you kind of realize that the world is really not for you, that's when you become like that person that's like, okay, you know what? I'm going to have to show you I'm this tough motherfucker.
Right.
You are not going to fuck with me.
Yeah.
I don't care. You know
You
what I'm
become
saying? Like,
hardened
you
like
become
that.
harder.
Yeah.
And it's
Absolutely.
like, just like Kat said earlier, when I first walked by her, I had this
Yeah.
resting bitch face going on. But that's just the way I look.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm doing this on purpose, but
Yeah.
it's just became something normal that I don't even realize I have, to be honest. Because I don't think I'm a mean person, but
No.
I feel like it became a defense mechanism.
It makes sense.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely, that makes
to
sense.
where you feel like, okay, I have to be that way, or I
Yeah.
have to look that way because I don't want people to think that they can just run me over like a bus.
Especially knowing what I know about you.
Yeah.
Like, I know where you came from, and I know what it took to get out of there.
Yeah.
And I know what you came here to.
Yeah.
Like, and I know what you've been through since coming here. Like, yeah, it makes
Yeah.
sense. 100%.
And, I feel like...
Why wouldn't you throw up a defense mechanism? How long have you been single? How long have you been on your own, Z?
Oh, it's been a while.
Right.
Like, for me, obviously I've been in relationships and stuff, but nothing to where I'm saying, like,
You haven't been married.
set.
You haven't, you know
That
what I'm
one
saying?
time.
Yeah.
That...
But that was
yeah, that
20
was
years ago almost, right?
Yeah, it's been over 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck.
You be a single mom for that long, raising 2 boys and all that. Yeah, you probably do get a little bit hard.
But, with
Is
Jamal...
that? Do you think that's part of what maybe changed it? Is now that your kids are like kind of grown up, like you can kind of take your defense mechanism down a little bit, like like as a mom, like, hey, my kids are kind
No.
of getting there, or are you not there yet?
I think it's not even like, okay, so learning myself is what changed me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, when I was like in my 20s, I fucking didn't know what I wanted in life. I didn't know, how to make my money, if
Yeah.
I'm gonna be rich or poor, or if I'm
Right.
gonna marry a doctor or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I was just existing. It was no plan. There was no nothing. I was just here. And fuck, I remember I had a security job. You know what I'm saying? Like, and security job, fuck, that really ain't paying you shit. You just making it. And then I started working at a club, and
Yeah.
I thought I was the shit when I was
Yeah.
working at the club because I had cash money every
Yeah.
day in my pockets, But after a while, you just kind of feel like, okay, I'm stuck somewhere. Like, something is not going the right direction, like, because you're not growing,
Yeah.
And I got to say, I remember, when me and, my ex split up, like my ex-husband, Jamal, my oldest, stayed with him. And so I had that help, like,
Yeah.
I can't even complain. Like, he's been a great dad, you know what
Sure.
I'm saying? Compared to my youngest son, you know what I'm saying? I can say now he's around, but that's because he doesn't have to work with Monte. Yeah, doesn't have to teach him nothing anymore. Monte is grown.
Yeah.
He's 19, you
Yeah.
know, like, he doesn't have to do anything. But, back then, I didn't have my priorities straight. I didn't know. Okay, I always knew, okay, I have to be a mom. I have to take care of my boys. I have to do everything I can to get that done. You know what I'm saying? But as far as me, where I wanted to be in life, I had no fucking clue. Like, none. Like, clueless. And then I remember UPS kind of fell into my lap back then. I remember I was going from job to job, and I was at a library, and somebody had mentioned that their wife or something went to UPS and lasted like a day. You know, it wasn't even like, oh, you should fill out that application. It was
Right.
just a general conversation, you know.
Not a good one either.
Right,
by the
exactly. Not
way.
like where I'm like, yeah, I want
Yeah,
this job,
yeah.
you know. So
Wasn't a good first impression.
I remember I was sitting at a library, and I mean, at wit ends, like no money in my pocket, no
Right,
job, no
right.
nothing, like just literally just existing, you know. And I filled out the application for UPS, and
At the library.
at
on,
the
like, a
library,
public computer.
I was literally just
Yeah.
on the computer, and I was like, let me look up UPS, and I just typed, and it just so happened it was around like October or November when I did that, right?
Yeah.
And back then when I filled out the application, I mean, literally the same application on the bottom, it gave me a interview date. I was like, oh, hell, that was quick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I had an interview
Done
date.
deal.
Done deal. I left the library. I was like, okay, I'm like,
Yes.
get this job, you know? And so I remember the interview was in Atlanta.
That's so fun.
At the Atlanta
That
hub.
time of year, too.
Right.
Oh my
so
gosh.
look, the interview was at the Atlanta hub. And so previously, I was at a job interview right before the UPS. That was at a security job that I had gotten, my first security job. But when I went to that interview, I walked in there with I looked like, okay, you know how Snoop used to be dressed? With those Dickies pants and like those long shirts, like collared shirts kind of thing. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? That's how I went to my fucking interview. I looked like...
No, but I'm sitting here wondering. I'm sitting here wondering, Z, why?
You know what?
Why would you go to an
I
interview like that, Z?
I thought that was casual. I didn't look. I swear to God, look. That's how green
Yeah, that might
I
be
was.
casual,
I
but
was,
it's not business.
Oh, 100%. I get that now. You know what I'm saying? But the whole thing is like when.
That's so funny.
So I remember that lady. She was sitting in front of me, and she just looked at me, and she says, "Okay, let me start first telling you, you don't never show up like this." Like, she was I mean, when I say, oh, she took me apart.
Really?
Yes. Oh my God. And she was like, I don't care if you go to McDonald's. Blah, blah. Like, you know, she was just basically, and he was like, if I give you any advice, you put on a suit no matter where you go.
This is the security
That's
company.
the security company
Okay.
back then. That was before
Yeah.
I filled out that
Yeah.
UPS, you know what I'm saying? And the reason why I'm telling you this story is because, so, okay, I took that note, mental note. Z, don't ever go looking like that to an interview again. I get to Atlanta, to the UPS hub, right? I'm fucking sharp from top to bottom. Got a little business suit on and shit, you know, ready to go. Yo, I walked in that place. There were so many people in that room waiting to be interviewed.
Oh, I'm
Right?
thinking about the people at the interview.
Yo, listen, I'm looking at the people sitting there, and everybody's wearing like sweatpants, fucking jeans, just raggedy looking outfits. Like, I went to that security interview. And I was like, oh, I got this job. Fuck all of these people. Like, I'm sharp. They gonna pick me. Because here I am. I didn't look. I didn't know. Yo, I didn't know.
I got this in the bag. Yo.
I didn't
got
know.
this job.
Yo, I didn't know that UPS was hiring everybody
Like
and
a
their
mass
mama.
hiring. Yeah, you didn't know it was like 25 people are coming on board this thing today.
Right.
You thought it was one position.
One position, right? So the guy
You
goes,
just know you got that job.
So the guy calls me in. I remember I'm sitting there. And, you know, he's asking me, like, he didn't ask me about no background, no nothing. All he said was, like, where do you live? So I gave him where I lived, which was back then. Was I in Palmetto? I think I was in Palmetto. Yeah, I was in Palmetto. And he says, okay, Palmetto. Closest hub that we have is Peachtree City. He's like, you know, can you make it there? And I'm like, yeah, Why not? And he's like, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to be a driver helper? Do you want to be working in the warehouse? And I was like, well, what is a driver helper? So, he told me what the driver helper was. Just you sit and you just deliver packages. I'm like, oh, I can do that. No problem. You know what I'm saying? So, literally.
It's still not dawning on you.
No, not at all. But then, but by the time I walked out of there and I'm talking to people that walked out too.
Yeah.
I realized this was a mass fucking, yes.
Every warm body that walks through that door.
There you go.
Was it the same then? Like UPS, now it's like anybody who walks through that door.
You know what? I don't know.
You're hired.
I'm not. I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Probably.
Because I didn't have I
I
didn't have no issues. Like, it wasn't like for him to say like, okay, we got to think about this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just like, okay, somebody gonna give you a call. That's what he said. And literally that same day, somebody called me. And it was this lady, I forgot her name, but I remember what she looked like. She was a black lady, really short hair, really sweet lady. And she said, okay, I'm gonna put you with this driver today, but he's not gonna be a regular driver. But so you can see what it is about, blah blah blah. She made me come to the hub, Peachtree City Hub. She gave me a uniform, and she said the driver will gonna call you, and he's gonna tell you where to meet him, yada yada yada. I'm like, okay, cool. So I remember the first guy I rode with was Kyle Wilson. Yeah,
that's a cool first driver.
Yeah, I mean, he looked the coolest fuck. He looked like a surfer dude back then. To me, like the way I remember it. Maybe not, you know what I'm saying? Like, but at that point, I didn't even know country people. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you didn't understand that concept?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Because I haven't been around people like that.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Kyle's a cool introduction to that.
Oh, 100%. But so the biggest thing I remember about that day was he asked me how much they paying me. And I told him, and he fucking busted out laughing. He said, girl, if you would know what I'm making, you wouldn't be running for me. And I was like, what? Like,
that caught your attention.
And I was like, what the fuck that mean?
Yeah.
That
caught your attention right
no,
there.
It didn't. No. Thinking back, it didn't. Oh, man. You know what I'm saying? I just felt like, well, yeah, he's driving. He got more responsibility. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't even think about like I didn't even think. Look, I didn't even think about that they do this by themselves. I didn't even realize that this is only for Christmas.
Oh my god!
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
you hadn't learned the.
I had none of that. Yeah. Like, I was just there, basically. So then, okay, Kyle Wilson was done. I did my deed, and then the next day I get a phone call from another driver, and his name was Ricky Cheese. That was way before your time, and Ricky Cheese was like, my God, he was a chimney, straight up chain smoker. Yo. I got out of that truck smelling like I came out of a bar. I swear. But the crazy part was he was so rude to customers, right? Like, he was like, no nonsense. I can't wait. And he would just walk out. Back then, the plasma TVs had just started coming out, right? And I remember we delivered one, and he told me, he said, put it right there by the garage. And I'm like, just put it there? Like, that's it? Like, and back then, they would drive into the driveway and back out the driveway. There was no back first or whatever because we didn't have telematics, none of that bullshit,
Yeah.
So he literally just said, yeah, put it there. And I'm like, so we don't get a signature or we don't ring the bell letting them know? No, that's their fault. They should have had this signature required. I was like, damn, okay. So I'm getting out the truck. I'm putting the freaking TV by the damn garage and we driving off. You know what I'm saying? But the lady that put me with Ricky Cheese, she told me, she said, hey, look, this guy is very difficult. He returned every helper that I had for him. He didn't like any of them. So please try to do your best. She said, because I'm running out of people, like, for him to get, So I was like, okay, well, I can work. It ain't no big deal. So, I would work with him. But the only thing that I didn't like about it was he would call me just random. Like, I would have to sit by the phone and wait. until
Yeah.
he calls me, and sometimes he would keep me for like 2 hours, 3
Yeah.
hours, and then when I get the check, it was like couple of $100, and I'm like, oh hell no, I can't live off of this. What is this?
Right.
Because like I said, I was so green about what this job really was. I just
Right.
felt like I had a job, and so the lady, she checked up on me every once in a while. She's like, hey, how you doing, yada yada yada, how do you like it, this, that, and the other. And she told me, she said, what did you do to Ricky? And I was like, nothing. She was like, he hadn't called me not once to complain, none of that. You must be doing a great job. I was like, okay, well, thank you.
Yeah.
So, okay, I waited for another week because I was trying to see, well, maybe I get more hours next week. Same thing. Literally no freaking money. And she would call like at the end of the week, like I think from what I remember. But I know I talked to her multiple times. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like she would check up.
Yeah.
She would check on me, which now if you think about it, they don't do that shit no more, I don't think. I haven't, I just know that UPS may call them and be like, hey, how was can I even say that? UPS?
I mean, you already did.
Yeah. But anyways, that job. So they would, and I told her, I said, look, the last time she called, I was like, look, do you have something else for me to do? Is there anything I can do where I can make more money, more
Right.
hours, or something? Because this is not gonna make it. I had
so-
2 kids.
Yeah.
I've literally, like, Christmas is right around the corner. I was like, I need a little bit more than that. And she's like, oh no, I don't want to take you off Ricky, blah blah blah, because she didn't want to take me off of him because then she had to find somebody else for him.
Right.
So she said, well, you can go in the warehouse. It's $1 more, and you get paid overtime after 5 hours. I'm like, bet. I said, how many hours do they work? And she said, well, right now at this point, it's like 8 to 9 hours. I was like, oh shit, put me on, And that's how I started working
Wow.
in the warehouse, And look, this is how green I was, all right? So to me, warehouse always has been a big building, closed building
Right.
for that.
Right.
People just wear comfortable clothes.
Yeah.
They could be clean because they're not going to get out of there dirty. Because the only warehouses that I knew of were like people with forklifts and, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
not
Different.
just different.
Different.
Not like what we got. You know what we got
sure.
going on. So, I had this. So back in the days, I was super hip hop. Like my dress, like the way I dressed, everything. So just thinking back, oh, it makes me cringe. So I
This is a good story. I feel it.
I showed up in a pink. Like when I say pink, it was like a baby pink, almost neon, maybe a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like sweatsuit, top and bottom.
Like J-Lo style?
Yes. You know how they had those?
Yeah, like Jenny from the Block or something like that.
That exactly.
Really?
Yes, 100%.
You wore
That's
that on
what
your first day?
it was a Pepe sweatsuit. So that was my
I remember that.
and I had like this Nike jacket on. It was like a black jacket and no gloves, no hat, no
Yeah.
nothing. Because I'm thinking I'm in a warehouse.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Closed.
I walk in this bitch and everybody looking at me like, who the fuck is this and what does she think she gonna be doing in here? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I can't
just
imagine
like,
people's faces.
Yo, I remember, so it was already November during that time. It was already
Yeah.
cold, right? They had a bulk van outside to get loaded. We had back then the Union City Mall, Foot Locker, Ladies Foot Locker, Finish Line, I think, and Foot Action, something like that. Those shoe stores, basically, right? They had their own van just for that because they would get these big boxes, right? So they had this van sitting outside because, back in the day, our building was even smaller than what it is now.
Right.
So they had the van sitting outside, had the rollers going down the steps, by the door, and they stacked up all the boxes in front of the door. Obviously, they didn't have the door open until they didn't have no more room for the boxes. Then they would open the door and they roll the boxes outside towards that van, right? And then there was somebody outside that had to load the van, like put the boxes in the van.
That was you.
Yes, I was that dumb motherfucker that was out there having to load. I swear to God, I felt like they want me to quit.
Yeah.
I felt literally because it was cold for number one. I'm outside. I'm in this freaking bulk van. There is nothing but coldness out there.
Right.
No light. I'm literally out there in the dark. And every time the door would open, you know what I'm saying, the boxes would roll out and I would have to load them. By the time I was done, my fingers was about to fall off. My nose was red like Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer because it was so cold outside, right? And the supervisor, I can't remember his name, but I felt like he didn't like me. Mm-hmm. You know, the vibe he gave off, right? Mm-hmm. So I kind of felt like, okay, I guess because he thinks I'm prissy looking, you know what I'm saying? Showed up in a fucking pink sweatsuit, you know, that he felt like, okay, yeah, no, we don't want her here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
he tried to get rid of you.
That's how I felt.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But then,
he tried to weed you out.
Right.
He thought you weren't going to cut it.
Exactly.
And you proved him wrong?
Oh, 100. Shit, I'm still there at this point, fucking 15 years later. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, it just, once I started working, coming back, you know what I'm saying? And I'm getting to talk to everybody and kind of getting a feel of what this was and how much, you know, potential the job had.
Yeah.
And the benefits of it and everything. And I was like, oh, fuck, I need to stay here. Like, what do I do? And, you know, Vince, he was a supervisor back then, you know. And I asked him, I said, what do I have to do to stay here? He's like, well, it's easy. Just work your ass off. I was like, okay, I can do that. So that's what I did. But you got to understand, I started coming into the warehouse kind of like towards the end. Mm-hmm. You know, it was like the end of November when I got there. So Christmas was right around the corner. So there was already a whole bunch of people that came into the warehouse before me. So I remember when HR came in, dude came up to me and he was like, yo, I heard you want to stay. And I was like, yes. And he said, well, come into the office and talk to me when you're done. So that's what I did. I went in there and he told me, he says, well, you know, I heard you working hard, blah, blah, blah. You know, I think it was December the 31st when he told me not to come after December the 31st no more. And he's like, we'll just give you a call for you to come back.
Yeah.
But just work until December 31st. Don't come back until we give you a phone call. I'm like, okay. So I felt like I had the job. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But so I waited like, I want to say about 2 weeks. And then I called. And I was like, yo, what's up? Are y'all not going to hire me back? Like, what's going on? And dude was like, well, you know, there were people ahead of you that we had to hire on first, you know, first come, first serve, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, well, are y'all still going to hire me? And he was like, yeah, I mean, as soon as we get an opening, you know, we'll call you. And I was like, okay, cool. So I waited and waited. And so I went to the unemployment office and they actually told me I can get unemployment because they didn't fire me. They just laid me off. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, really? So I was getting unemployment. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and go to Germany to see my parents, you know, see my mom, whatever, because I wasn't working. I was getting unemployment. I really wasn't living nowhere. Like, it wasn't really, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was a whole nother story in itself. So I was like, well, I can go to Germany. I hadn't seen my family in Germany for years at that point. And, but, you know, when you go to unemployment and they give you unemployment, they want you to fill out applications.
Right.
So you have to show up at the unemployment every 2 weeks or whatever and show them, okay, this is what I, you know, try to look for, you know, jobs, whatever. And so what I did, I just went to the phone book and I just put a couple of names down, numbers, what I, you know, and that was it. That's all they required.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I really didn't call no fucking body because my plan was
to go to Germany.
Right. So when I went to my first freaking interview at the unemployment where they check who you called and all that bullshit. She said, hey, we got a lady here. She works security. She's with the security company. And I saw that because when you fill out the unemployment, whatever, you know, you put down your previous jobs and all that shit. So she said, I saw you did security before. I want you to fill out an application with them. I was like, fuck no. Like, I didn't want the job. I definitely didn't want to go back to security. Like, that was
Yeah, you were banking on UPS.
right. And I was like, man, I do not want to go back to security because it's a dead end job.
Right.
It's a lazy man's job. You're not doing anything.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm sorry, all security guards, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, you're talking about sitting in, like, you're talking about one of the who like raise and lower the little arm
right.
things to let people in and out.
Exactly.
Like, you ain't talking
Pretty
about-
much.
Yeah.
Right. So I was like, okay, so you need to understand my last security job I lost because, well, I got fired from that job because I left my post.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that with the
But-
bathroom and all. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I went to the bathroom. I maintenance didn't come to
You
relieve
abandoned
me.
your post.
Right. And
Yeah.
that's why I got fired, which was a dumbass,
stupid.
reason because I'm not going to piss my pants.
So stupid.
You know? So, anyways,
Yeah.
I put down on that application that I got fired. And it said reason, and I was
Yeah.
like, abandoned post. So I was like, if I put that there, they're not going to hire me. They're going to be like, oh, she's a bad, like, she wasn't
Yeah.
a good security officer. We don't
Yeah.
want her. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, I'm leaving the place, and I kid you not, 2 hours later, the lady calls me and she says, hey, I see on your application that you said you got fired for abandoning your post. And I was like, yes. And she says, well, could you elaborate? And I'm like, what, you want me to tell you the reason, like why I left my post?
No.
And she said, yeah. So I told her. And she's like, well, that's not really a reason. And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
So she was like, well, we need somebody at Kmart Distribution Center. That Kmart Distribution Center was in Noonan. So I started working there. My dreams to go to Germany was cut right then and there, like, you're not going. And so I started working there, and I kid you not, 2 weeks after I started working there, I get a phone call from HR. Hey, we want you to come back. And I'm like, well, fuck, I'm working overnight now. The shift that they wanted me to come on was overnight.
Right.
And I was like, well, but I was working on the weekend, so I had 2 days off during the week. And I was like, because I'm still green behind my ears, I'm like, well, I can come this day and that day. And he's like, oh, no, we need you Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's just part-time. I'm here full-time. I don't want to quit a full-time job for a part-time job.
Right.
Like, that was to me like, ooh. Because at that point, you don't get the 8 hours no more. You just get part-time hours.
Right.
Peak season is over. So I was like, I don't know if I want to come back. I can't. Like, I got to take care of 2 boys. Part-time is not going to do it for me. So, okay. Get off the phone. Next month. That was in February. So I stopped in December the 31st. It took me a month and a half or so to get the job at Kmart. You know what I'm saying? So then March came around. He called me again. Hey, did you change your mind? Yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, no, didn't. I just didn't see the big picture at that point.
Right.
And then April came around. And I said again, no. I mean, the guy called me literally every month. He done called me 3 times, and I turned it down. And then I remember.
You had no idea what was knocking on the door. That's so
No,
crazy.
at all. Not at all. And then I remember I talked to one of the girls that worked there. And I said, hey, she been there for 7 years. 7 years. I just started, right? And I said, hey, can I ask you a question? I said, if you don't mind me asking, I said, how much money do you make an hour? And she's like, oh, no, not at all. So she told me what she made, and she was making 25 cents more than what I was making. And she'd been there 7 freaking years. I said, oh, fuck this.
Not the place for
Not
me.
for me at all. Like, I'm going to be in the same place forever if I
Yeah.
stay here, So I called somebody that I knew that worked, at Ups.
Yeah.
And he said, and I told him, I said, yo, if you see HR, tell him to freaking call me, like, right away.
Yeah.
I was just like, please. And I kid you not, the next fucking day, he called me. And he said, yo, I heard you want to come back. I said, yes. And he said, well, can you come tonight? I was like, oh, no. Like, I don't want to just fuck up You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
like I wanted to put at least a 2-week notice in. They didn't do me wrong. They just don't pay, you
Right.
know? So he was like, okay, we can do that, you know? So he gave me a date to come back, and I called my supervisor at the security job. And so I knew I had to find another job, a part-time job, to kind of like make up for what I'm missing. You know what I mean? And so I told her, I was like, look, I'm putting in my 2-week notice. She's like, oh no, you worked out so great. Da, da, da. Like she really liked me, you know? And I told her, I said, well, do you have something part-time? And she said, well, I got Saturday and Sunday. I said, bet. Because Saturday and Sunday was 12 hours each day. So that was 24 hours right there. Working over there part-time was like another, 25 hours. Back
sweet.
then we got 25 hours. So it was 50 hours a
all
week.
worked out.
It worked out like freaking nothing. I was like, oh shit, I ain't even got to look no more. Like, I'm set.
Yeah.
So that's how it started. That's how the journey started.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and then but I had to wait until a ticket fell off.
Oh yeah, to go drive. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that pissed me off so bad, because there were people that was jumping me. They was going to driving school before I was, because I had that fucking ticket on my record. You know, so.
Yeah, but once you went though.
Oh yeah, they was not happy
got
with
to
me.
go.
They was like, "Oh no, I
Yeah.
hate that you going," because they
Yeah.
knew once I get my 30 days in, I'm gonna jump them.
Once you got to go.
Right, and that would happen. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
But it took forever.
Yeah.
You gotta understand. I started in 2006 when they pulled. It was 2005 peak season that I started, and then 2006 that's when I got hired back on, like in May.
Right.
2014 was when I went full freaking time.
Wow.
2008 was when I went to driving school.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the whole recession thing happened, yada,
Right.
yada, yada. I couldn't even get
8 years.
I know. I couldn't even get my freaking 30 days in, you know, because the recession happened literally right when I went to freaking school. And then, I don't know, and then it just went from there.
That sucks.
Yeah. But
Wow.
hey,
Hey,
it
it
was a
panned out, though.
freaking life changer.
Panned out.
You don't understand how many people told me, like, you need to quit. You still in the warehouse. You still not this. You still not. I'm like, look,
They
man,
don't
I
understand.
got free benefits
They don't
working
understand.
part-time with
Yeah.
2 children.
They don't
what
understand.
No, not at all. A lot of people didn't. A lot of, they
It's
was
a game changer.
100%.
It's a total
It's
game
hard
changer.
work, but it's not, it was worth it for me.
Sure.
Especially not being someone that went to school here. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like,
You
I didn't
weren't
go to
college educated.
I
Yeah.
mean, you know, I went to what they call it, technical school
Uh-huh.
in Germany.
Really?
I told you that, didn't I?
No.
I did. I wanted to be a drafter. You know what that is?
Like
That- Drafter, yeah,
Yeah.
like, you know, you plan, like, do
yeah,
you
blueprints and stuff.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
That's what I went to school for. I wanted to be that. That's what I wanted. I love geometry. I love
Really?
math. I love, yes.
I had
Oh
no
my God.
idea.
Yes.
Did you complete your technical?
No. No.
You didn't?
No.
You left?
I left. I dropped out because I moved here. Yeah. I was on machines, like, okay, you know
Really?
how they make the rotors
Yeah.
for, you know, it's that machine where it turns
Yeah.
and you got the, what they
The
call
lathe?
those? What is it?
The lathe?
Is that
a
what it's called?
lathe or a lathe?
It has like a chisel and the thing turns and it's like,
Yeah. And you kind of chisel it out
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
grind
yeah,
it
yeah,
down and form it and shape it.
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
it's
Those
called
are
a-
machines.
I'm sure it has it probably has several names, but one name is a lathe.
okay, well, yeah,
what I
those were the
can
machines
relate
that
it
we
to.
used. And then I
That's
learned
cool.
how to do the machine. Like, it has like this little,
Like the CNC machines, you'd use those?
it goes in and it makes like different shapes and
yeah.
like, you know.
That's
what
like
I'm
a CNC machine. Yeah.
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 So we had the ones where we had to do it manually with the little rollers, like you hit the little, what they call it? I don't know, you turn it like a spin, no. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it had like the measurement on the thing and you turn it, and then you turn it back, and then you turn it this way, if this, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and then, and
You
then
went to school for all that? You learned
yeah.
how to do all that?
Oh, I was a little tomboy. Oh gosh, I was a tomboy.
And you loved it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you
I've-
ever revisited that passion at any point in your life?
No, but I guess that's why I'm doing all that DIY shit at home.
You do
know what
enjoy
I'm saying?
building and
Yeah,
creating that
I
kind
guess.
of stuff.
Yeah.
Redoing.
But my favorite class was the drafting class.
yeah.
You know, I guess whatever we built we drafted.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like we had to make the drafts of it and the measurements
Right.
and put, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And then we went down. We had like this huge workshop with all these machinery and stuff, and we basically
So you learned how to do the whole thing. It's just that drafting was your favorite part of it.
right because
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to do. That's what I went to the school for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
So
but
we got to hit on you leaving Germany. We got to hit on like you dropping out. We've got to hit on it. We
Yeah.
have to talk about it. You were what, 16? 16.
17.
You were 17. You were hanging out, or 16 when you started hanging out at the base, right?
well,
17?
17.
Okay. And you meet your eventual husband by going to these like festivals, right? You were telling
Yeah,
me
we
they were like
had
little
okay. So
fairs or
they
something?
had they had a fair right in
On
May
base.
on base.
And Germans could attend it.
Right.
It was
that was
totally
they called
cool,
it the
wide open.
American. Yes, they called it the American and German Fest.
Oh, so that was the point of it. To
Right.
bring
That was
American
to
and
bring
German.
like Americans and Germans
Well,
together.
they did a good job.
Right. I guess so. Right. But yeah, that's where we met, and then it just went from there. And I mean, I was not allowed to have a boyfriend back
Right.
then, like because my dad was so strict. Yada yada yada. So
Right.
the whole relationship was like sneaking around.
Yeah. The whole thing was a
mean,
secret.
100%.
Your brother didn't know.
No. It was a
Did
few
your
of my
mother know?
friends. My mom knew eventually.
She kind of caught on.
Yeah, but I told her. You know what I'm saying? But I guess with my mom, I want to say I have a really tight relationship with my mom, but I really don't. There's a lot of things my mom doesn't know about me. There's a lot, like, you know, just because, but no fault to my mom.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? She was working all the time. She was always tired. Like there's really not much time that she could have had with me, you know, and or with my brother. Which my brother, I mean, fuck, he was never at home anyway. But so yeah, my mom knew, but it wasn't really like. I think my mom took herself out of the role of being a mom at some point, just because she had no say so. Does that make sense?
sucks.
Like I
Yeah.
could, you could tell my mom was kind of like defeated. It was more like she was there, she was making money, paying the bills, and that's all she was
Yeah,
there
she
for.
has no authority.
Right.
She has nothing.
So, yeah, obviously she was kind of like, no, don't, if
Yeah.
dad finds out, you're going to
Yeah.
be dead and I'm going to be dead because my
Did
dad.
you tell her like it's an American
Oh,
soldier?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
She knew all that.
Yeah, she knew all that.
And she knew your dad was going to hate that
100%.
because he was American,
Right.
right?
Yep.
Didn't
And
want you to marry an American.
it was
He
more
didn't even
so
want
the
you
black
to
part.
date- Oh, okay. So it was more so the black part. But he didn't want you dating anyone, period, at that
right,
point.
at that point,
What
yeah.
was an acceptable age for you to start dating?
Well,
Did you ever
okay,
know?
listen, this is the crazy
Or
part.
did he want to arrange it or something?
Right around that time, there was a family in Turkey that went to my grandma and my dad and asked if they could have me for their son to marry. Yeah, I know that sounds
Z,
crazy.
what year are we talking about?
I was 16, 17, so 96, 97, somewhere in there. Yeah,
1996, and we're talking about
yeah,
an arranged marriage.
yeah.
Ugh. I mean, they still happen today. I don't.
Yeah,
know why I'm so
I think
surprised.
it's still I
just
think it
the
still
personal
happens,
connection to it,
right?
man.
I guess because there it's more normal.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But I lived in Germany. I was in Europe. I was
Is it one of those super old school things? Like, were they gonna like trade your dad something for you?
no.
wasn't like,
It
hey,
wasn't
well-
like that. It
Yeah.
was just like it's more like families getting together.
Oh, I see.
You know
I
what I'm
see. Let's
saying?
bond our
Like
families,
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And but I really believe also that the reason why they asked my family was because the kid was in Turkey.
They wanted him in Germany.
In Germany, yes.
Yeah.
That's how a lot of
Wow.
hell. There are so many. Look, there were people that would get married in Germany and make money off of it, like immigration scams. I guess
Oh,
I
yeah,
want to
yeah,
say.
yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I've heard of there. that was a thing in America. Might still be.
Oh, fuck, still it is. But, people over here getting bamboozled into it. They think they got the man of their dreams, and then after 3 years, I'm like, "Hi, bitch, I'm out." You know what I'm saying? Like, they play the role really good. You get scammed into that shit.
So what did your mom and dad say? Like
No.
when they said
They
no.
said no. They said no.
Oh, he wasn't fit to marry you.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Or were you just too young? Like what? The circumstances weren't right yet, or
Yeah,
something?
but there was so much more going on with my dad and mine
Sure.
and his relationship, whatever. Which I don't want to get into it, but
Yeah.
it's just But I just knew that fuck, down the line, I'm just gonna have to marry somebody that I don't even fucking know if this is what it is.
Yeah, if you stay there,
You know what I'm saying?
You stay
like
home,
right? Well, I don't know. You see what I'm saying? Just because at some point my dad left my mom anyway. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I think I had a huge role in that too because I wasn't there anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like for him to I gotta make sure she is first. Like, you know what I mean? Like that she gets where I want her to be, or kind of bull crap, But
because he did try to build you guys up, right? Like he wanted you to.
no, look, the whole Taekwondo thing, as far as it wasn't. It was more for him to say, yeah, my kids can't beat anybody's ass. You know what I'm saying? Like that type of shit. Because like I told you, he was a narcissist. But back then, like when I did meet, my ex-husband, that was during the time that he was going to Turkey like for 4 months, coming home for 2 weeks, kind of bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, I was sneaking this dude into my apartment.
Really?
Yes.
Where you lived?
Yes.
With your mom there?
With my brother there. He would spend the night. Nobody had any clue. I would sneak out of the house. I would go to the barracks in the middle of the night and would come home before everybody gets up.
Yeah.
Like when I say I was fucking sneaky, I became like fucking sneaky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so in Germany, our front doors have keys, obviously, right? But in Germany, they're really loud. Like you have to inch them in so nobody would hear somebody coming through the door. So what I would do is before everybody was really laying down, when it was still noisy and stuff, I would actually go and put the key in the outside door, in the door on the outside.
God.
So the key was already in there. You know what I'm saying? But nobody knew because the door was shot from. You know what I'm saying? It was on the outside. So everybody would go to bed. And I would literally because, okay, so the door doesn't have a knob or anything to turn to close the door. You know what I'm saying? Like in Germany, our door was you had to slam it shut.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then you had to have the key to turn it to open back up.
Right.
So what I would do is so I didn't have to slam the door. Everybody would sleep. I would go to the door and I would turn the key to make that thing go in, that little whatever latch.
Yeah.
And then I would close it and I'd turn the key back. You know what I'm saying? The key would be in there until the next morning.
Right.
I would sneak out of the house and downstairs because remember I told you we have downstairs the buzzers and then the stairway.
Yeah, how'd you get buzzed in?
So there was a setting on the door. It was a little latch that you push up and it would leave the door open.
Oh.
But listen,
so you leave the whole building's door open so that you could sneak across the street and hook up with this dude you weren't even supposed to be hooking up with.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But,
just leave them all vulnerable, Z.
I remember I did sneak out one time to go to a club, right?
Yeah.
Did the same thing. I went with one of my friends. We got drunk as fuck, came back, and that fucking door was locked downstairs. And I was like, how the fuck are we going to get into the building? Into the apartment.
Yeah.
So I want to say, okay, so we had basements, right? Mm-hmm. And these basements had these small windows.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, this big. And we was trying to kick that shit open to get through the basement. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And somebody in the building heard us because it was super loud. Like, and she was
Yeah.
like, "Who is down there?" Like, she was screaming
Trying
and
to kick a
hollering and shit.
window
And
in.
we was like freaking running around the building because I didn't want her to see me because everybody knew us in the building.
Sure.
And I don't want to get caught. I don't want nobody to say like, "Oh, Z was out there," you know, at freaking
Kicking
4
windows
o'clock
in.
in the morning. You know what I mean?
Drunk kicking
And
windows.
the crazy part was we had really nosy neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, wow. But then I remember, I think the way we got in, we actually rang somebody's doorbell. Yeah. And I said who I was, but I also said, please don't tell nobody. But of course she went to my mom. But my mom wasn't like, well, I was like, oh my God, I'm about to get my ass whooped. You know, my mom is like, my mom talking, she's like, where were you at? Like, she would ask me, but there was no disciplining. Like I said, my mom literally checked out from being a mom.
Yeah, she's like, I got to go to work.
Right. So, when I say sneaky, whew.
Do you remember the moment you decided, like, this is it, I'm running away?
Oh my God.
Like,
it wasn't even a plan. It was literally one day to the next. It was like a one day, one moment decision, if that makes sense. Like it was, so I had a diary. Mm-hmm. And obviously you write everything in your diary.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And I remember my mom said something, I can't even remember how it was in the morning or during the day where I came from school. I can't even remember what it was, but my mom said, your brother said you can't go nowhere. He has to talk to you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't leave the house. So I was like, what the fuck? Like, she was like, he is super mad. He didn't tell me what it was about, but he's mad. And I'm like, fuck, what the hell? So, of course, first thing I did, I was looking for my diary. And I couldn't find it.
oh no.
So my brother had found my diary. And so I knew that he knew that I had a boyfriend.
Yeah.
And
And
talking
it was
about
a black guy in
talking about
the army.
shitting in my pants. Like I was terrified. And I remember I had a friend over and I told her, I said, I'm gonna have to run away. I can't stay here. If my dad finds out, I'm gonna be 6 foot under. You know what I'm saying? Like, because
and
my
your
dad,
brother's totally going to tell your dad.
oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, I remember my dad always used to say, like, if you, like, kind of sort of fuck up the honor of the family, you know what I'm saying? If you do anything to make people look at us like, oh my God, you know what I'm saying? Like, he would kill that person, then the whole family, and then himself. And remember, I told you I was scared of my dad, like terrified. Yeah. And that was something I freaking believed.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I really believed that that's what my dad would do. So I told my friend that was there with me.
Because he would, right? Like, he legit would.
That's, yeah. I mean,
it's not just that you believe that.
You know what?
It's that he probably would have.
Yes. At this point, now when I think back, I want to say I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But I have heard of a girl that something similar happened and nobody knows where the fuck she's at. I don't know if they married her off in Turkey somewhere and she's gone, or, you know what I'm saying? So, of course, I'm thinking about all of that too. Yeah. You know, and I'm like, the fuck? I knew I was going to get my ass whooped. Like, when I say my dad used to whoop me like I was a punching bag, that's what it was. And, I mean, finding that out, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be fucking dead, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was scared, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember I packed all my shit. I didn't even think no more. After I found out or figured out that my brother had my diary, I started packing.
Oh, this is where you hid it under the stairwell or whatever? You hid all your stuff under the stairwell. You were getting ready.
I was getting ready. And that was the same day, you know, my grandma was in Turkey during that time.
Right.
And she came back that same day. Everything happened that same day. Like, it was so fucking crazy. Like, it just, shit hit the fan that day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when my grandma, because there were other things that came out that wasn't so great, you know, and my grandma was questioning me about the other thing. And it was just a crazy day. And I remember, so when my grandma came back from Turkey, she wanted me to come to her house, to help her unpack and all of that. Because I don't know, did I tell you my grandma, she was handicapped. She only had one leg.
You
She
didn't
had
tell me
lost she lost her leg in a car accident.
Oh, wow.
But that's why I say my grandma was such a strong woman. She would
Yeah.
like literally get in the car and drive to Turkey. She would drive all the way to fucking Turkey. For her,
With
it's
one leg.
with one leg.
She didn't.
She could only drive automatic though. Like, I mean, obviously she
Yeah.
couldn't drive
Yeah.
a stick shift anymore. But I mean, she would still do everything anybody else was doing. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And for my grandma, it was like, to her, it's a 3-day ride compared to my dad being a 24-hour ride with no
Right.
sleep. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But my grandma was still doing it. She might be a little slower, but she did it. And so when she came back, she called me over there and she was like, "Hey, I need you to help me unpack or whatever," right? So I went over there. I helped her. She asking me all these other questions about this other whatever, what was going on. And right around that time, my brother came home. And he rang the doorbell at my grandma's house. So in Germany, we have like the buzzer downstairs, but there's also a speaker. So you have this telephone upstairs and you're like, "Hey, who's there?" And they'll talk into that speaker.
Sure.
So like, "It's me," whatever. So I pick up this little thing and I said, "Hey, yeah, who is it?" And it's my brother. And I was like, "Oh, fuck. I'm about to get my ass whooped." I knew it. And as soon as my brother stood in front of me, he punched me in the face. Like, I mean, literally, no warning, no nothing, just bam. So my grandma was in the living room. She kind of heard commotion. And so she was like, "What's going on?" And my brother was like, "Nothing." My brother played it off. I played it off, obviously. Because it's not like my grandma can do something about it. So he was like, "You need to come home right now." And he told my grandma, he's like, "Hey, she needs to come home right now." So my grandma was like, "All right, just come back later on." I was like, "All right, cool." So I'm going home. And my brother is fucking going off on me. Like punching me, kicking me. You know what I'm saying? Like just going fucking ballistic. "You got a boyfriend. What the fuck?" This, that. You know what I'm saying? He was like, "I'm going to tell Dad. He going to kill you." This. It was just like this craziness going on. You know what I'm saying? And the only thing I remember, I ran out of the house. And I was running downstairs, like in that little stairway or whatever. My brother went behind me and I had my hair in a ponytail, and he came and he pulled me on my ponytail, and he had a freaking knife in his hand. He was like kind of telling me like, "Get back in the house before I have to cut you," kind of bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So of course I went back in the house. At that point he stopped. And he's just like, "Wait until Dad gets home. You're not going nowhere. You're not leaving this house. You're not getting out of this house until Dad gets home." Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, basically, I'm going to be in the house until my dad gets home. And then my dad is going to handle the whole situation.
Right.
So, meanwhile, all my shit is downstairs. My brother didn't even realize that my stereo, like, because I had this little stereo thing on this, like, it was this marble table I had in my room. And because the things that I took was my stereo and all my clothes, all my shoes. I think that was it. That's all I took. Was all of that. And it was all in these blue big ass plastic bags. So we had, look, my grandma went to Turkey, right? Obviously. And she had a cat. So we had her cat. So her litter box, food, all of this shit was at our house.
Yeah.
So when my mom came home, my mom don't know nothing that went on. Like, she is
Right.
totally oblivious of what happened. Nothing. She don't know my brother. No, I have a boyfriend. None of that shit. What happened before, like when my brother came home, nothing. I didn't tell her nothing. My brother didn't tell her nothing. It was like the only thing she knew, that I wasn't allowed to go anywhere.
Yeah.
So my grandma wanted her cat. And my mom couldn't carry all of that shit over there because, my grandma lived right beside us in the next apartment over.
Right.
And so, my brother, he was lazy. He really didn't want to do a whole lot, So he was like, Becky can help you. Tell her, you know what I'm saying? So he told, basically, I needed to help my mom to get all that stuff over there.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Ooh, there go my chance." You know what I'm saying? To get the fuck out of here. So I helped my mom get all that stuff over there. And my grandma, she's hungry. She didn't cook anything because she just got back. She didn't have no food or whatever. So she was like, I'm hungry, blah, blah, blah. We had dinner at our house. So I was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to go home and heat you up some food, and I'll bring it back over. So I left, heated up my grandma's food and stuff, took it over there. And I came up with something to where I could leave, to where I didn't have to go with my mom, and my mom wouldn't have been like, oh, no, you can't go by yourself kind of thing. I just told her, I was like, oh, shit, I left the stove on. Because, we had gas.
Right.
So the stove was still on and shit.
Yeah.
So, which obviously it wasn't because I heated up her food in the microwave. So I gave my grandma a hug. I gave my mom a hug. And I had that latch, obviously, open to be able to get in our building into the basement. I went to the phone booth. I called my then boyfriend, and I told him, I said, "Yo, you can come get me now." Yeah, because during the day I had already told him I got to go.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just wait for my phone call. And so yeah, I called him up.
I just can't.
We got all that shit out of the basement, put it in his car.
I just can't believe it.
Yeah, and I got the fuck on. I was fucking 18. Think about that shit. I'm running away with 18. 18 people would look at you and be like, no, you moved out. Nah.
Right.
I had a
That's
fucking,
what I have a hard time wrapping my head around is how little say you had in anything. You're 18.
Yeah.
Like everybody else is telling you what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
That sucks.
It was, and then, it was so crazy because when I left, obviously in the morning, my brother didn't really know that I wasn't there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? My brother got up and left, didn't even check if I was there or not.
Right.
But then throughout the day, once he realized I wasn't there anymore, my mom knew where I was at. Obviously, she knew about him, and she knew where he lived too in the barracks. So she actually came to the barracks.
And you talked to her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was sitting on the couch in his room. Like he had a barracks room. He had a bathroom that he had to share with the guy across whatever. And I wasn't even supposed to be there. Like when you a military guy and you know what I'm saying? Like
when you're living in the barracks, you
right,
don't have
you
nobody.
don't right. It's not like you can have your girlfriend living there with you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I was there even not supposed to be in there. You know what I'm saying? Like so when my mom came, she was crying, I remember, and she was trying to tell me I need to come back home. My dad is gonna go crazy, and my mom was scared like hell too. She was like, what am I gonna do? Like, but what is gonna happen to me? And so my mom was basically scared too. But I also told her, I said, look, man, I done left. You think I'm gonna come back to this hell house? Hell no. And I told her, I said, well, it ain't your fault.
Yeah.
What are you gonna tell you? You ain't had no say so in anything anyways.
Right.
What was you gonna do? Hold me back? You couldn't even tell me if I could fucking take a shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I just told her I wasn't coming back. I done left. There is no way I'm fucking coming back. And the crazy part was it was right across the street.
Yeah.
I didn't even run far.
That's why when we were looking at that map the other day, and you showed me where the barracks were and where your apartment building was.
It was right across the street.
Literally across the street.
Yeah. But see, the thing was, nobody knew where he lived.
Yeah.
Besides, or who he was in the first place.
Right.
Besides a couple of my friends. It was not even a handful of friends.
And one of them ratted you out.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
One of them was a rat. Snitches get stitches. You feel me?
Oh, man. I was so mad. And I remember to this day, like, I haven't talked to her, but.
Since then?
Yeah.
Cut her off.
I got her off flat off. Like, yeah.
Because she told your dad and brother and cousin.
Yeah. She told my cousin and my brother first. Who he was, where he lived, and all of that.
So they came looking for you before your dad had gotten back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was jumping out of windows and shit. Getting in my boyfriend's car. Yes. Because so the way the building was set up,
So they were literally trying to kidnap you And take you back home. You're 18 years old. You're an adult.
Yes.
So in Germany, is it the same as America, right? Like you're 18, like
Yes.
you're an adult,
Man,
make your own
with
decisions.
Look, with 16, we drinking in Germany. Like,
16 was the drinking age?
yeah, you could go to the club and
Yeah.
everything.
When did you graduate high school? What year? Like what age? Roughly the same as America? 17,
No.
18?
Well, I was 16.
You were 16 when you graduated. Okay. So you're essentially an
Ninth
adult
grade.
in Germany.
Ninth grade, yes. Yes.
Great. What are you talking about?
Ninth grade, that's when we graduate high school
You guys
in
must do
Germany.
grades differently or whatever. We'll get to that later.
Well, we got, look, our school system is so much better than over here.
It's totally possible. I have no idea. I'm not educated on German.
100, look, when my kids was going to school, I was like, what the fuck is all this shit? The way you guys do multiply and division, and I'm like, what? Like, it's all
We do
over.
it wrong here?
It's a long way, like, to fit, like, it's longer. Like, you looking at this shit and trying to figure out
Well,
shit
it's long
longer.
division, right?
Huh?
Long division. Isn't that what they call it? Or am I just making that up?
Fuck, I don't know. It's the
not
same
making it
division as
up.
what we got over there. Like, you know what I'm saying? That just the way you guys figure it out and the way you write it out,
Yeah.
it's totally different than from in Germany. When I saw what Monte was doing, I was like, what the heck are you doing? I was trying to show it to him. He's like, no, this is how they show us. And I was like, okay, never mind. You do your thing. Don't even have it, you know. But yeah.
So you graduated at 16.
Yeah.
So you're basically an adult then. Start making
Not
choices.
so much an adult, but kind of, you know.
Is it rare to see someone start moving out at that age?
Yeah.
That's rare.
I think so,
What's
yeah.
a common age?
18.
Okay.
18.
Which you were.
Yeah.
But they're still trying to kidnap you,
Yes, to take me back home.
essentially, and bring you back home.
Yeah.
You weren't breaking any laws.
No. No, not at all.
You were
I
just
just-
with this dude.
Yeah.
I mean, you weren't supposed to be living on the barracks, whatever.
Right, but that's
Yeah,
American.
Totally different. thing.
That's, you know what I'm saying? But the whole thing was like, I remember the way the building was
Because
set
it was
up.
dishonoring the family name, right?
Yes.
They're going to come and get you, bring you home because you're
Right.
dishonoring the family
Because-
name
so
by
here's the thing.
dating this guy.
Right. Okay, with my dad, it was because he was American and he was black.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but also that it was a guy. But I think it wouldn't have been as bad if it would have been like a Turkish guy or some German dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, just
Yeah.
the part of that it was American. You know what I'm saying? Like,
And your brother didn't like it just strictly because you're your dad.
because of my dad. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just because of his upbringing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I said, once my dad did this whole like you the man in the house, he started creating a monster at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
You know what I mean? But so the way the building was set up that he lived in, there was a front door and then there was a back door. Everybody parked where the back door was. My cousin was at the front door. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I would always go out the back door and we would in the car. I would lean back in the car and we would just drive by and he would tell me like he's standing at the front door and I'm like, fuck, like who showed him? You know what I'm saying? Like at that point I didn't know who, but I knew somebody did. So and then I remember he had a best friend in the barracks. We was at his place just chilling, right? And at that point, you know, the military base is open. It was like free in, free out. Like you didn't have to show no ID or anything like that. People were just able to go in and out of there. So there's a knock on the door, and it is my supposedly best friend and another good friend of mine. Which the good friend of mine, she only went because she acted like she didn't know anything. You see what I'm saying? So, but the supposedly best friend basically knew where he lived, his best friend, because she was with me everywhere we went. She
Yeah.
was, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so
She was doing it all with you.
exactly. So
Yeah.
when she knocked on the door, you know, he opened the door and he was like, she said, is Zekia here? And, you know, he was like, no, she's not. And, she's like, I know she's here, blah, blah, blah. I can't believe I can't even talk to my best friend. Y'all won't even let me talk to my best friend. Meanwhile, my fucking cousin is outside. You know what I'm saying? Like, what?
Yeah,
Bitch,
dirty.
please.
Trying to do you dirty.
Exactly. So I had to climb out of that fucking window to get to the car, you know, because my cousin was outside at that front door, you know. And then I remember I just said, look, I know my dad is coming back. I mean, like, soon. I got to go. I can't stay here. They know where you live.
Yeah.
And I
How
can't.
long did you do that? How long did you?
This was
play
only
that
for
cat
2 or
and
3.
mouse?
This was 2 or 3 days.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And then I was like, I gotta go. Like I got to go somewhere else. I can't stay here because my dad will be here
Yeah.
sooner or later. So I remember I had a class friend, that I went to school with, and I can't remember if she lived by herself, if she was renting out somebody's basement, or I don't know. I just remember I called her up and I said, hey, I need to go somewhere. I can't, I told her the whole story. I need to be somewhere not close to where my family is. And she lived in like a different town. I mean, it was like a 20-minute ride, but in Germany, that's far. You know what I'm saying? Like, so anyways, but so I remember he took me there. I stayed there. He had a basketball game the next morning, and I was like, make sure you call me after the basketball game, and I spend the night there, go to sleep, blah blah blah. The next day, I don't hear from him, and back then we had cell phones, so I'm trying to call the cell phone and he's not answering, so I'm tripping. So I'm calling somebody that lived in the same apartment community that we were in, and I was like, yo, did you see my dad's motorcycle out there? Because my dad went to Turkey at that time with the motorcycle, with the bike. And her balcony is literally like looking. You remember on the map where I showed you like that was the playground and then the parking lots?
Yeah.
So she was in that high-rise building on this side. So when she looked out of her balcony, it was like she could see it all.
Yeah.
And she was like, yo, your dad's motorcycle is out there. And I was like, fuck. Like, so I'm thinking something happened to him. Like my dad done caught up to him or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I'm tripping. I'm like, oh my God, like, what the fuck? I'm calling, no answer, this, that, and that. So finally I get a fucking phone call. And I was like, yo, dude, I thought something happened to you, blah, blah, blah. And he was telling me that my dad came over there. He did encounter my dad. He said my dad was over there at the barracks. So when I left, I took everything with me. There was nothing left. I took all my bags, everything with me. Even like, I think I brought I brought stuffed animals. Like, I mean, fuck, I was 19. I still had, or 18. I still had like little, you know what I'm saying? Like
little girly things you wanted to hang on to.
So, I took all of that with me. There was nothing left in that room that was mine.
Yeah.
So my dad knocked on the door and he let my dad come in the room. I think,
look around.
From what he told me. I mean, shit, this was so long ago, 20 years or so ago.
Yeah,
so
like, look, dude, she's not here.
Right. So he said, so he's looking around, da, da, da. And I think he told him, he was like, if I see you with my daughter in the same car, you're going to be 6 foot under too. You're going to be dead too. You know what I'm saying? Like that type of bullshit. I guess my brother was translating because my dad don't know a little fucking English. You know what I'm saying? So, so he told me that and I was like, wow, so he knows where you live. And so I stayed there for another night, I think, but then I came back.
Yeah.
But from that time on, I could not leave that place unless he was with me.
Yeah.
It was a constant, like, checking the doors first. You know what I'm saying? Like, leaning back in the car when we're driving out. Because, when we're driving out of the barracks, we literally passing my apartment. Like, the balcony that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, across the street. Yeah. So, when I say bored to death, because he was at work. He would get off at like, I think 5 or some shit. I was in that fucking room until 5 o'clock. And then.
How long did you do that?
So I want to say that happened in May or June, somewhere around there. And then August, we got married. We went to Denmark and we got married. And when we came back, the barracks was shut down. Nobody could come in no more. The military shut it down. There was something that happened. I think, that movie with Tom Hanks, where he was that captain?
Saving Private Ryan? No.
No, he was that captain in the African.
Yeah, Captain Phillips.
There you go.
Captain Phillips,
That
yeah.
shit happened.
Oh, the actual
event
Yeah,
happened.
yeah. The
It's just crazy.
Somali pirates. is
Right.
what it was,
Fuck.
yeah.
It's crazy that I'm correlating this with
No, that's
that.
funny.
You know what I'm saying? But that's
Yeah.
that's the only way I know because I don't really know the
Yeah,
history
so
of
they
it
had to
like
lock
that.
some-
Right. So what military did, they locked everything down. Like
Uh-huh.
anytime something happened, any kind of
Yeah,
terrorist attack or whatever, the
Lock it
the
down.
Barrack always locked it down. No,
Yeah.
they was in Germany, but still did it. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So when that happened, I was like, "Fuck freedom for me," because I was
You're
able
married.
to exactly. I had my
It's fine
ID
for you to
card.
be there.
I was able to go shopping in there. I was,
Yeah.
you know, and I knew that my dad wasn't gonna be able to come in that bitch. Like
Yeah.
it was locked down.
Was your mom still coming in there cleaning
Yes.
a lot?
Yes.
So would you see
So
her?
I would still see my mom.
Yeah.
You know, my mom would come by and I would see her, but
Yeah.
that was it.
Yeah.
And then some time passed, and I remember I called one of my friends, and she said, "That's not you." I'm like, "What do you mean?" "Yeah." That's when I found out that this girl thought I was dead. So, because my dad couldn't bring me back home, he failed in bringing me back home, so to speak. The next story was they started telling family members and friends that I died in a car accident. Man, I swear to God. So she said, "Well, your dad said your brother and your dad and everybody's saying you died in a car accident going to Turkey." I'm like, "What? No. That's not what happened." So I'm telling her the whole story. You know what I'm saying? And so I asked my mom because my mom didn't tell me about it. You know? And I was like, "Well, fuck, let him say whatever the hell you want to say. I don't give a shit." You know what I'm saying?
And your mom was like, "Yeah."
Mom,
Like,
like I said, my mom had no say so. Literally zero. You know what I'm saying? Like there was, what was my mom gonna do? You know, like I think, like I said, my mom had checked out.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it was just kind of like, okay, whatever. I'm just gonna go with the flow. Maybe I don't know. You know, but but what happened then was there was a guy that knew me, like he was a family friend. He knew me from when I was like tiny baby.
Yeah.
You know. And he came and, you know, he's crying. He's in my grandma's house. And he's like, "Oh, my God, you guys lost your only daughter." And, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was fucking crushed,
Yeah.
you know? And my mom and my grandma, they sitting there. They just watching the guy. Like, they not crying because they know
Yeah.
I'm not dead.
Right.
You know? And he's looking at my grandma. He's looking at my mom. And he's like, "You guys are the most, like, cold
Yeah.
people I've ever met. Y'all lost
Yeah,
y'all
you're not-
only daughter. I'm
You
sitting
had
here."
no reaction.
Right, I'm sitting here like crying my eyes out. Y'all not even comforting me or nothing, or we not sitting here praying or nothing. And you know what I'm saying? And I think that's when my grandma said, "Enough is enough." My grandma started telling everybody the truth. She was telling, like, she left and she's not like she's gonna get married or whatever the case may
Yeah.
be. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
that's it. She's gonna live happily ever after. That's when that's when she started telling the truth because, like I said, my grandma, she was like, "Fuck that! You're not finna call me the coldest person on earth." You know what I mean? And that was it. And it was so funny because my grandma, my dad's mom, so I always thought she hated me because she was so strict with me. You know, she was the type that was telling me I need to learn how to cook, I need to learn how to clean, you know, iron clothes, just, you know, be the housewife. You know what I mean? Which is, like I said, is crazy because she was not that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like she came to Germany as a single woman, lived by herself, raised 2 boys. You know, like,
Yeah.
anyways. But anyway,
Sounds relatively familiar, by the way.
what do you mean?
Go to a different country.
Yes.
Raise 2 boys.
It's funny. It is
Be
so
a
funny.
strong woman.
It is so
be
funny.
Be a stand-up. You know what I mean?
You know
be
what?
a warrior.
And you
be
know
a
what
survivor.
the funny part is? I have my grandma's name.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Same first name?
Yes.
No.
Yeah. I got my grandma's name.
I mean, that's a really familiar
And
story.
you know the
were
funny
just
thing
telling
is,
me.
yo, I wish I would have thought about it. I have a picture of my grandma.
Yeah.
when she was younger, I'm the spitting image of her.
Really?
I look just like my grandma. Even this mole I have on my face is hers.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
It's crazy. Like when I look at that picture, I'd be like, wow. Like it gives me goosebumps because I'm like so.
That's kind of creepy almost.
It is.
And they
It's-
like they had picked out that name, and then you're born.
Yeah.
And then you guys got like
And the thing was, but
matching
Everything-
features down to a mole.
but
That's
everything changed when, like, her whole demeanor towards me changed because she actually saw me. Like, my brother didn't know, my dad didn't know, but she came out to see me. You know what I'm saying? Like, we would meet. It was my mom, my grandma, my boyfriend then, fiance,
Yeah.
whatever, because at that point we got engaged.
You would see each other.
We all met, so we could see
So
each
it was
other.
okay to see the women.
Well, I think my grandma at some point she just was like, "Fuck it, it just happened." Like I mean,
Yeah.
she wasn't like my dad, like mad with me. Like obviously in the beginning she was mad, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But she like the whole dynamic changed. Like my grandma wasn't the mean. God, I don't want to call her a bitch, but she wasn't that mean grandma that she was towards me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and she had to feel some guilt telling everybody her granddaughter's
Oh,
dead.
100%. And that's why she started telling the truth. You know what I'm saying?
Can you
So,
imagine trying to tell people that?
yo, they told my family members in Turkey the opposite. That I died in a car accident in Germany. Because everybody was like, well, where was the funeral? When was the funeral? Da, da, da. You know what I'm saying? So it was just kind of,
They were still
they
thinking
was
in
telling,
Turkey?
yeah, they was people in Germany. My dad said my funeral was in Turkey. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the people in Turkey, he was telling them my funeral was in Germany. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like it was so fucked up. But like I said, once my grandma started telling the truth,
Yeah.
that totally went out the window.
Yeah.
You know, but I remember. So my grandma was cool with it. We saw her more than once. Like, I mean, she always would meet with us, you know,
Yeah.
because my grandma at that point was still driving. And she would bring my mom with her or whatever. But my dad didn't know anything about it. My brother didn't know anything about it. And then I remember I actually spent the nights a couple of times at my grandma's, like
Yeah.
next door. And nobody knew I was there. And I remember one night my brother showed up and I was hiding in my grandma's room.
She was like hiding you.
Yeah.
She was complicit at that point. Like
100%. Like she was
with
totally
you.
right. She was totally on my side at that point.
Did she realize that your dad was so wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's her son. So
Right.
she didn't disown him. It
It didn't matter if he was right or wrong. She just wanted a relationship with you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because so the relationship, so obviously my grandma had 2 kids, my uncle and my dad. She was a lot closer to my dad than she was to my uncle. And my dad was like her everything. You know what I'm saying? Like he couldn't do no wrong.
Right.
Does that make sense? Yeah. But then on the other hand, she still felt like that for him, but she didn't agree with what or how he was handling the situation with me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And I remember, it was so funny because, well, not funny, but, so I went to Germany. So I went to Germany after I had my oldest, Jamal. And I think Jamal was like 6 months old at that point. And then after that, I didn't go back for like 10 years. Wow. But it had a lot to do with not having my priorities together here.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's not cheap to go to Germany. And I could kind of kick my ass now when I think about it. How, like, it didn't mean nothing to me to go home. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, but Yeah, it took 10 years for me to go back. And it was crazy because my grandma didn't even recognize me.
Really?
Yeah, I remember. So, between all of that, obviously I didn't have a relationship with my brother anymore. And my brother was telling everybody the same story, that I died. So then my brother had a girlfriend. They had a son together and all of that. And she never met me. My mom had no pictures out of me in her place. She never knew my brother had a sister.
So you got a niece out there. She does now?
Yeah, she knows now. But
you were telling me.
What happened was,
That's so crazy.
yeah, I remember I had talked to, so when it was getting closer for me to come to Germany, right?
Yeah.
After those 10 years, I haven't talked to my brother at all. Didn't see him, didn't speak to him, none of
Right.
that. And, obviously I missed him because that's my brother. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, we had a good relationship before all this bullshit happened, So my mom, one day I talked to her, and it was close for me to go back to Germany. And she said, "Hey, your brother said to tell you what's up." I was like, "Come again?" And she said it again. And I was like, "Are you sure? Like, you for real?"
Yeah.
Like, at that point, I didn't believe her. I just thought she's just telling me that to kind of like uplift me or some shit. You know what I'm saying? And she said, "No, he said for real, like to tell you, hey, And I was like, wow, I just started boo-hooing, like crying because, like I said, it meant so much to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then when I went to Germany, I couldn't wait to see him. Like, he was like what I looked forward to the most. I mean, yeah, I wanted to see my mom. You know what I'm saying? But I've talked to her. We've been
Right.
on the phone, but I haven't spoken not a word to my brother. So when I got there, the next day, like I got there, spent the night at a friend's house because that's where I stayed. I didn't go home to my mom. I stayed with
Yeah.
a family friend. And the first thing I did, I went in the morning, we went to my brother's apartment. And that's when I saw him for the first time. And that's when I met his girlfriend. That's when I met his son.
Was he excited to see you?
Yes. Oh, I was crying. Like, it was... That was a crazy day.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. And that was actually on a Sunday because I left Saturday here. And then Sunday, and usually they have breakfast with my grandma on Sundays.
Yeah.
So after that, we went to my grandma's house, her apartment, everybody to get there to have breakfast. My grandma didn't know I was coming to Germany.
Oh.
But my mom knew,
Yeah.
but my grandma didn't.
Yeah.
So, and my dad was obviously in Turkey, so I was
Right.
able to move around how I wanted to. Like, my dad was still doing the same bullshit.
So you got to surprise your grandma?
Yes. So I remember I walked into the apartment, and my grandma's at the door. Like, my brother walks in, I walk in, his girlfriend walks in, and she was like, "Who's this pretty lady?" And
Didn't even recognize.
I started laughing, and that's when she recognized me.
Really?
Yeah, because the way I laughed. And, it was pretty emotional. That was a pretty emotional day. And then, I stayed for 2 weeks during that time. And, I didn't take my kids that time. Because I just didn't know if my dad were to find out that I'm in Germany. Because the city I grew up in, everybody knows my dad. Everybody. Like, when I did my sneaking around shit, it was around places that I knew my dad didn't know anybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
you had to be real selective.
Yes, because if I were to skip school and I was going downtown just to fuck off, so to speak, somebody would see me and my dad would know.
Yeah.
Like, there's always somebody that saw me and I got my ass whooped for it. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So I was like, shit, if somebody sees me, they gonna call and my dad is gonna be like, like I said, it takes my dad 24 hours to get back. You know what I'm saying? My plans was to stay there for 2 weeks. So there was a chance
Yeah, he would show up.
He would show up. So I didn't want to take my kids with me because I didn't want to expose
They
my
don't need
kids
to
to any crazy crap.
Right.
You know what I'm
They don't need
saying?
to be saying that.
So the next time I went was the year after, and I took my boys with me.
Yeah,
And
they got to.
They got
experience
to
it.
experience, they got to see Germany and stuff, and
Meet
that was
everybody.
so cool. They got to meet like everybody. They got to,
really
it was just a whole different experience.
Yeah.
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 And my grandma, she fell in love with Jamal, my oldest.
Yeah.
You know him.
Yeah.
He is so freaking genuinely nice.
Yeah.
Like he's just this pure, nice kid.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Mate was like all on me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
he wanted the spotlight. He ate it up.
he
That
was-
kind of thing.
When I say no, he was more like under me. You know what I'm saying? Like
I got you.
obviously he was talking to my mom and all that, but he
Yeah.
was always like sitting on my lap, so
Yeah,
to
yeah.
speak. Jamal, like my grandma, I told you she was handicapped. She only had one leg.
Right.
So anytime she would get up to do something, Jamal would jump up and like hold her hand and like try to help
That's
her
so
out.
cool.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
and
so
my
cool.
grandma, I'll never
She
forget.
loved it, didn't she?
She freaking loved it. She was like, "Oh my God, I love him!" And then she looked at my tape, she was like, "That one, not so much." How like old.
Yeah.
She was an older lady, so there was.
Yeah.
This was funny. At that point, but I'm glad she got to meet them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's the only time she got to meet them. That was kind of because then I brought my mom over here twice.
Mm-hmm.
I think so that was 2009 and 2010. So 2009 I went by myself. 2010 I took my boys with me.
Right.
I think Jamal at that point was 10 and Monte was 8. That's how long it's been. My kids are 19 and 21, dude. Like,
Which still blows me away, by the way, that you got kids that old. 19 and 21. That's nuts.
that's crazy, right? But
That's crazy.
so, and then I think so 2011, I moved to Noonan. So I didn't do anything that year. I was like, "Oh, I can't."
Yeah.
There was too much going on. And then I think 2012 was when I brought my mom here. And she stayed with me for 2 weeks. And then 2013, or it might have been 2013 and 2014.
Yeah. You
You know what I'm
brought her
saying?
over.
I brought her over.
Yeah.
And then for a while, there was nothing. And then the next time I went back was when my mom had that accident
Right.
with
right.
that train.
Yeah, with the train. Yeah.
And that was
Golly,
in
that was
2000.
scary.
That was in 2018. I can't believe it's
scary.
been. Was it 2018? Yes, it was Christmas 2018.
I was really scary. I remember talking to you about that. I was super worried about her. I didn't even know the woman.
Yeah,
That was really scary.
that was crazy because when I got the phone call, it was like, I don't talk to. Well, I don't want to say I don't talk to them, but I kind of lost contact with the family on my mom's side.
Mm-hmm.
But I can fault myself for that.
Right.
Like life took over.
Yeah.
I guess I want to say.
Yeah.
And then it's just like out of sight, out of mind, maybe. God, that
Yeah.
sounds so crazy. That sounds not so nice, right? But
Fact of life.
it just kind of like happened. But all of a sudden, I get this phone call from my was it my cousin? Yes, it was my cousin that I have never, like, I remember them when they were like babies.
Mm-hmm.
Understand, this is 20 years later. These are grown people now
Yeah.
that I have never met after
Yeah.
they got, you know what I'm saying? Like,
You know them by name. That's about it.
probably not even that. Like, the only reason why I remember was because it was FaceTime. I mean, not FaceTime, Facebook Messenger.
Yeah.
That's how I got the phone call. And it said
wow.
his name. It had my mom's maiden name. And I was like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Yeah.
Why are they calling me? But I caught it too late because it was right in the middle of peak season. It was like, 5 days before Christmas when that shit happened?
Jeez.
And So I tried to call back because I was trying to get I remember I pulled up at the gas station. I had a helper. Pulled up at the gas station. I was about to get a phone card.
Yeah.
Like to call to Germany,
Yeah.
And right when I was at that gas station, my uncle calls me, which was the dad of the kid that called me first. So I pick up and it's my uncle, and he was like, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know, I'm sorry to call you with these kind of news. I wish it was better news." And I'm thinking like, what the fuck is going on? And he was like, your mom got hit by a train. She's in the hospital. And that's all we know. Yo, talking about like my world was crushing. Like it's just, I instantly started crying. I remember I was in the back of the truck, and I sat literally on the floor of the truck. My helper was looking at me like, "What's going on?" Because he don't understand nothing I'm saying because I'm speaking in German.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, "Where is she?" I was asking like what was going on, like what condition she was in, and he was like, "We don't know nothing. We just know she's in a hospital and she's still alive, basically." So I'm like, "What the fuck?" Like, it just, crushed me. So I called my supervisor.
Freaking out.
And then the first thing I did, I called. I say, "Look, I'm about to bring this truck back. I know it's peak season, 5 days before Christmas." I said, "My mom was in an accident. I got to go to Germany. I cannot sit here and there's no way." So meanwhile, I'm trying to call my brother. He's not answering the phone. I'm calling his girlfriend. She's not answering the phone. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like nobody's answering the phone for me to be kind of like more in contact of what's going on over there. And I got the truck to the building with my helper. I was like, "Yo, dude, I know your car is in Noonan, but you know what I'm saying? They gonna figure this shit out." And he's like, no, go ahead, because my helper was actually a helper that I had for a few years, like every year, whatever. Yeah. So he knew me, but so I got in the car, and I remember I picked up the phone. I called Monte on my way home, and I said, "Monte, find me a flight today to Germany. I don't care how much it is. Find me a flight today." And he was like, "We going to Germany?" I said, No, I'm going to Germany. Yeah. He was like, "What happened?" So I told him, and Monte fucking starts crying. He hadn't seen my mom in freaking 6 years or something, or 4 years at that time. You know what I'm saying? And he is just like starting. And I was like, no, it's okay. She's still alive. Like, she's still, like, I don't know what the condition is, but she's still alive. Like, please go online, find me a fucking ticket. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm rushing home. Oh, what I did, I stopped at, I think it was Best Buy or somewhere, because I had to remember I told you the plugs in Germany are different?
Different.
So I went to Walmart, Best Buy, something like that, bought me an adapter for a phone. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I called Sprint on my way home. I was like, "Yo, what do I have to do to make my phone international?" Yeah. And they was like, "Well, you can have the internet for $25 more a month." So I was like, "Hey, put it on there," because I knew I was going to be calling with either WhatsApp or like Instagram Messenger or some shit like that. That's all I needed. I just needed internet. You know what I mean? Because you can make calls now through the internet. You don't need the phone service. Right. So I was like, "Yo, put it on there, please. Like, can I get that on today?" And she was like, "Yes, we can turn it on." So they turned it on. And then I got home, and Monte had the ticket, like, already, because I told him, I said, "Buy the ticket. I don't give a shit. Gotta go." Because, Monte has Monte has all my information. Godly. My kid could pay my bills if So he got the ticket. Meanwhile, I'm in the house. I'm trying to throw everything I can, like what I know I need, in a suitcase. Meanwhile, I'm still trying to talk to anybody in Germany, calling my brother, calling his girlfriend. Nobody's answering. And then finally, somebody calls me back. And I'm like, "Yo, my mom is in the hospital. Check on her. Where do you?" They had no clue this shit had happened. I was the one that was telling them. And I was like, "Oh my God." So, of course, then she hangs up the phone. She calls my brother. Then my brother is calling me. And then he's like trying to figure out where my mom is at. Then he calls me back. Like, it was just a whole bunch of back and forth. But I already had the ticket. And then all of a sudden he calls me back and he says, "Oh, sis, you don't have to really come. She's in the hospital. Like, she's alive." And I'm like, "Fuck that. I'm coming. Like, what do
Get
you
by
mean?
a train.
You know what I'm saying?
Get by a
Right.
train.
So so understand, I was already at work. I catch that flight that night. I think it was like around 9:00. It's a freaking 10. No, actually, that was a 13-hour flight because I had to lay over in Turkey, which was actually pretty cool because I got to eat Turkish food.
Oh, that's cool.
And I fucking love it. That's like
great.
my favorite. It's like
Yeah.
Mediterranean food, you know?
Yeah.
And oh my God, I missed it. They have like different kind of ice cream. It's like this ice cream that you scoop. It's like kind of, it's just different. Just know it's different, but it is so good. So, you know, I was killing time at that airport, you know, just kind of like rambling around in the little shops and shit. And then I got to Germany. So that was like a 13, 14-hour flight. You know what I'm saying? So I was up like 30 something hours at that point. Like I was exhausted.
Yeah.
So when I got there, it was nighttime. I had the same family friend that I stay with when I go to Germany all the time, you know, because like I said, I don't go home to my mom's house. I think it's just because I don't want to be in the room that I grew up in. So she picked me up. And that was another thing, like, because I called her and I was like, yo, I need somebody to come pick me up from the airport. Like, I don't have nobody else to ask. Because I was trying to get a rental car. And because it was during Christmas, there were no rental cars at the airport. Like, not
One
even
thing after another.
me Ubering somewhere to get a rental car. You know what I'm saying? So I told her, I said, look, I can't find a rental car. Somebody's going to have to pick me up from the airport. And I swear to God, this lady dropped everything for me. Like, I love her to death. Her name is Sylvia. And she has been, I mean, from the time that I stepped foot out of my family's house, I mean, even until now, she has been always there for me if I needed her.
That's awesome.
Like, oh my God, I love her. But she dropped everything, came to the airport, picked me up, and then she took me the next day to the hospital where my mom was at. And I was so scared to walk into the hospital room because I didn't know what shape she was in.
Yeah.
Because nobody has said anything. Like, if, you know, like, I don't know if
she was alive.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if my mom was in pieces or, you know what I mean? So I remember I walked into the room and it was the weirdest fucking thing ever because she just looked at me and she said, oh, hey. As if she just saw me yesterday.
Yeah.
But, and the reason why is, I mean, you know, my mom right now is in a home.
Yeah.
Now, this happened in 2018. And I think, you know, like she started getting dementia.
Yeah.
It had already started before the accident. I mean, I could tell she had changed. She was not, but it wasn't like it is now, obviously. But it was, you saw the changes a little bit, you know. So, but when I walked into the hospital room, when I saw her, and she just had this like, oh, hello, like this nonchalant hello, that shit hurt my feelings. I was like, woman, I ain't seen you in 4 years. Like,
I
and
just busted my butt to get here.
And I was like, what the? You know, like, I came all the way from freaking America. You know what I'm saying? But I kind of chucked it off as like, maybe she's in shock too.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, but luckily my mom didn't lose any limbs. You know, she broke both of her arms. She had like this huge gouge in her leg that they had to they had to close it up. She got stitches on the back of her head. And was there anything else? I think that was it.
That's enough.
Yeah. But
that's enough damage to her.
Oh, 100%. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just, you know. Sorry, I'm not peeing. I'm just pouring a glass of water.
You're fine. But we're going to have to wrap this thing up. You know, we've been going like 2.5 hours. More than that.
But you know what, though? It's always like that, though. When we start talking, it's like.
It's always like that.
It's never.
Part of why I want to have you on the podcast. I mean, I think you have an incredible, inspiring story, and you're awesome. You're an awesome person. That's
Oh,
a big reason why I wanted you to have it. But yeah, it's just so easy to talk to you.
Yeah, same with me. Like
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
I can talk. I mean, to you, I can talk for hours.
Yeah, well, we just did.
Yeah,
And we could
because
easily
we
go
started,
3 more.
Yo, we started what at 9 something?
Yeah.
9:30.
Yeah. Like literally,
It's been almost 3 hours. Goddamn, I had that much to talk about.
it's about to hit 2 hours and 40 minutes exactly on the podcast recorder. You did good.
Wow.
You did good.
Wow. But you know what though? It's really not like okay. When I was coming here,
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God,
What am I gonna
like,
talk about?
What am I gonna talk about? Like
Yeah.
there's really really?
This is the first one I didn't prepare a single question for.
Are you serious? Because
No, I
you know
didn't.
what? Remember I asked you like what am I
This is the first one I have never prepared a single question for. I normally will at least think of a few ones. Like I knew you leaving Germany. That
Yeah.
was the one thing I wanted to hear you talk about
Oh really?
because it's a wild story.
Yeah, it is.
Like having a duck and dodge and
Yeah.
your brother and your cousin and your dad and everybody's after you and ugh.
Yeah.
And
And you
you're
know-
18, like
Right. That's what I'm
What?
saying. Like if you tell
That
that's
story
the
is
when
just
I tell
nuts.
somebody that I left with 18.
yeah. No, you had
It's
to
like-
run away.
Yeah, right. People are like, run away.
Yeah, you had to
moved out."
escape.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a freaking jailbreak.
Yeah.
But,
It was crazy. To-
Last question. I want to ask you one last question.
What's up?
How would you like to be remembered? Like after you're dead and gone, you know, how would you like people to remember you? Like what's something you strive for, you know, that you would want to be cemented? She was this.
You know what? This is crazy, but I really don't give a fuck. Look, the only thing I think, or the only people I want to be remembered by are my kids.
What do you
My
want them
boys.
to remember you? How do you want them
That
to
I
remember
was
you?
this awesome fucking mom.
Well, they got that already. You did good.
I
Mission
think-
accomplished.
Yo, let me tell you, I know my boys love me to death.
Yeah. Yes,
You know
they
what I'm
do.
saying? Like
Yes, they do.
they don't even have to tell me.
Right.
But you know, every time we get off the phone, it's always I love you.
Yeah.
I love you. Like there is
Yeah.
never when we get off the phone and
Yeah.
we say we always say I love you.
Weren't we just talking the other night? We were talking about not caring what people think.
Yes.
And I came to this conclusion recently. And I think I told you that night. Like, I don't care what anybody thinks except for a few people.
Yeah.
I do care what a few people think about me.
Yeah.
Like, I care what my wife thinks about me. I care what my kids think about me, you know,
Yeah.
because they know me.
Yeah.
And they know, like, hey, man, that's not in line, dude.
So
You know?
all right.
I do kind of care what they think because I value what they think about me
Right.
because they can help keep me in check
Well-
because I'm not always making
All
the
right.
best
Well,
choices.
if I really would care, I guess.
Yeah.
I should say. There are, you know, I only talk to a handful of people.
Right.
Like I used to have my phone ringing. I mean, constantly, all the time.
Right.
Now, the only time my phone rings is if it's my kids.
Yeah.
I mean, literally.
Well, how would you want your boys to remember you? Just you were an awesome mom? Because you already
A
accomplished
strong
that.
woman, somebody that they look up to, somebody,
did that.
you know, like, just yeah.
You did it. You did it, mama. You know what I mean? Yo, that's already written in stone. Good job.
Oh, thank you. But if I talk about other people, like, because like I said, I do talk to a handful of people.
Sure.
Like, there's you and a couple of people at
Yeah.
work, you
Yeah.
know. I think more like, I mean, of course, one thing badass, that comes to mind.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But also that I was a good friend.
Yeah.
You know, somebody they could come talk to, or somebody that, you know what I mean? Like, and I tell you what, I come across, like I said, with some people that I am unapproachable, maybe,
Yeah.
like, kind of like that resting bitch face,
Yeah.
especially to people that don't know me.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the few people that do know me, I guess, yeah, I think I would want them to
Yeah.
remember, like
I
not.
think most of them know you now. Yeah. Most of them will remember you properly. Well.
Yeah, I think
They would
so.
remember you well.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
but it's just
It's always something. It's something I like to ponder. You know, if other people think about that kind of stuff, like I don't know. I got to thinking about it a long time with social media. How we have like these weird virtual gravestones now, like these weird grave sites now. Like if someone dies, their Facebook wall's still there.
yeah.
And like people can still go and see all this stuff that this person wrote,
But
all these pictures of these people.
do you know that
It's so weird.
there's actually a setting with Facebook that you can I don't I don't want to say nothing wrong, but I've heard that there's a setting to where it all stops, like it's just in remembrance, like the
Yeah,
you know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah.
Like, but
That's
there
interesting.
somebody has to know like your
Yeah.
sign in and all of that stuff. I guess if you
Well, I
are a
want-
couple and you like kind of,
Yeah.
you would tell Kat like,
Yeah, yeah,
hey.
yeah. She already knows all that stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
I
yeah.
don't. I deleted all my social media, but she can get into it anytime she
Oh,
wants.
really?
Yeah.
You did?
Oh, months ago.
Why?
Probably 6 months ago.
Why?
One of the main reasons was time. I kept
I see that.
declining things. Like people would ask me to do something, I'd be like, no, I don't have the time for that. And in the grand scheme of things, like maybe I didn't, but I would check my news feed on Facebook like 4 times before I finished my coffee. How am I gonna say I don't have time
for
I don't
this.
have time.
Right.
I don't have time. Well, I'm sitting like how
Yeah,
my
you're sitting here
gosh.
scrolling. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that was
that's
part
a
of it.
rabbit
And like
hole.
one of my girls one time, she was like, Dad, will you put down the phone? I'm trying to play with you. And I was like, oh crap, I'm engaging my phone more than my daughter.
Oh wow,
Like
yeah.
I don't know how often I did that, but
Yeah.
I caught myself that time, and from then on I was just like, yeah, it's not worth it. Like I generally stay in touch with most people that I want to stay in touch with.
Yeah.
So it's not really a big deal, and I like it. And I'm an all or nothing type of guy. Like
Yeah, you said that before. I
I'm
heard
not
that
like
before.
into that moderation thing. If I like when I work out, I gotta go hard. I gotta go like wild, like David Goggins style,
But,
like that dude we were
okay.
talking about.
So, all right. I've also heard, like the moderation thing.
Yeah.
Right? I'm the type of person too, all or nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If I go work out, it has to be like a full workout. It has to be
Anything worth doing is
Right,
worth doing
I
to
have to-
excess.
right. You know what I'm saying? Or like when I did the project at home.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's like the DIY. It's like
Yeah.
I have to that's all I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Until I'm fucking done. There is
Yeah.
nothing else in between.
So you're not into
know
the
what I'm saying?
moderation either?
No. But I also now think like, well, fuck. My house ain't running away. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to be
Yeah.
in it.
Yeah.
And there are still things that I want to do to it, obviously, And I was like, well, if I paint this wall one day or one weekend, do the trim, I'll do this one another day. And then, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
So
just
you don't
take
have
like
to be,
2
like-
hours. Right. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Just take 2 hours of my day to paint one wall. Because
Maybe
that's
I need
all
to
it's
learn
going to
that. I
take.
need to learn how to do
You know what
that.
I'm saying? I was
Yeah.
like, that would be so peaceful. Because, yo, I'm telling you, I was more tired when I was like redoing my fireplace at home
Mm-hmm.
than me going to work and coming home.
Wow.
And that's because I was literally, I even, like when I was on vacation that week, I think I skipped the gym like 3 times
Mm-hmm.
or 4 times. Just because I wanted to get that done. I have to get that done.
Yeah.
And same thing with at the gym. Like
I get
I
that
used to
way.
be that person like that. Like if I cannot work out an hour and a half,
Yeah.
I don't want to fucking go because then it's
Yeah.
just gonna be a half-ass workout. But now thinking about it, like I said, that's just that just came
Yeah.
to mind like a week or 2 ago. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
good.
Like
I need to
what
take
is
that.
if doing something is better than nothing.
Right. Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I'm like, well, fuck. If I don't have
Cut
the
yourself
time,
a little slack.
right? You know what I mean? But you
Yeah.
still did something. You
Right.
still accomplished something. It's
Yeah.
better than just sitting at home
For sure.
and watching TV or being on Instagram or Facebook
Yeah.
and scrolling up and down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, I think I'm gonna try it. I haven't started yet. I haven't done it yet. But like I
like it.
said, maybe
I like it.
maybe next weekend I'll get the paintbrush out and just paint for 2 hours. If I can do it. And that's the thing.
Oh, I can't do the
So
moderate.
if
You're
I
talking
s-
about trying the moderate. No, count me out. I've tried. I'm so bad at it. I'll try again. I'm sure I will. I'm just so bad at it.
But
Like,
see-
I'm just got to be that 100 miles an hour.
Right, and see that's the thing.
My
Like,
brain works so good that way.
and look, if I get that damn paintbrush out and that roller,
You ain't stopping, are you?
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to just do 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I know I'm not done.
Yeah.
Like knowing I still got to go and be like, oh fuck, why not keep going? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and that's that. It's like a rabbit hole. Like
I get it. I get it.
So-
Look, we got to wrap the podcast.
okay, I got you.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, no
I
problem.
really
Thank you for
appreciate it.
having me, man.
Everybody, this is Z. I'm not even going to say the rest of her name because I messed it up. Zakia.
Yep.
I did it right? I
Yes.
pronounced it right?
Yep.
Ah, I got it. All right. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.
All
Thank
right.
you, Z.
Bye.